JK, I'm not depressed, I'd rather sleep in all day till I'm dead. And all the arachnids I'm supposed to eat by accident miraculously exit. Crawl out my underbite, and I wake up at midnight, 8 legs and tiny eyes. No time for factoids, let's get to work, boys. No task at all, well, I'll just bounce right off the walls. Do you know what I'm about to say? I think she shoved all summer in a day. I don't try and I don't mind because I know it's just a great time. Now the sun, party on wine. I swear that I'll be buckets of fun. I swear I won't resume being a square until the party is done. When I'm going to bed, I'd rather sleep in, not like it's different. It's probably morning, and if I was counting sheep, then I'll be flaming and unhappy. I'll spend my life at home, housewife but alone. See a picture you don't. No time for factoids, let's get to work, boys. No task at all, well, I'll just bounce right off the walls. Do you know what I'm about to say? I think she shoved all summer in a day. I don't try and I don't mind because I know it's just a brilliant time. Now the sun, party on wine. I swear that I'll be buckets of fun.
Notification gang? Can we get in a high Instagram chat? Or just like a lot of rat jams. Either one. Or both. Are we vibing, chat? Let me know if the music is loud enough, because we're gonna be watching stuff, so. I love this song. Hello, Astro. Hello, Liv. Hello, Luca. Hello, Dragon. Hello, Min. Hello, Ghost. We vibing? We are vibing. Let's get some more rat jams in the chat. You're art fitting your buddy? Let's go. We'll probably do more art fit tomorrow. Or more pose practice. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. Hello, hello! Welcome. Alright, chat. Chat! How are we doing today? What's up, chat? Hang on. Gotta close that. There we go. I missed last post practice stream because of Walmart. There will be another one. Do not worry. Was the music loud enough? That is what I need to know. Just got home. This is amazing. I gotta know, chat. For the stream. Hello! I know it sounds so weird because there's no music, but like, should I make this bigger? I'm trying to figure it out. Is that big enough for this for the watching? I think that's good. It's good. Okay, let me make sure this window capture is big enough. Should we go a little bit bigger? Yeah, you guys can see. You guys can see. We're also gonna be drawing, so you know. Bit of both. Oh, hang on. That's wrong. Come on, Clip Studio, don't be silly. Okay, there we go. Are we watching BuzzFeed Unsolved? We're gonna start with that. I have a lot of these in like a little playlist I made. So we'll see. I'll be bouncing around to different ones. Some of them are BuzzFeed Unsolved, some of them are like random video essays you guys recommended me, and some of them are ones that I wanted to watch personally. So yeah, it'll be good. And I will be sketching. I don't even know what I'm gonna be sketching. I just like, I want to doodle. So yeah. Alright, this should be fun. Let's start. This first one is The Strange Disappearance of D.B. Cooper, and I've heard a couple of you recommended this one, so it should be pretty good. Alright.
This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we discussed the famous
Let me know
case
if
of
the-
D.B. Cooper,
the
a case that
audio's
the FBI is
okay.
referred to as one of the great unsolved mysteries in FBI history. It's also considered one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in U.S. history. It's a favorite of mine.
Damn.
Yeah, I've heard of this one a little bit.
I've not heard of this at all.
Or you haven't heard it like I'm about to tell it.
Oh boy.
Okay, let's
Strap
get
in.
Let's strap in, baby. Let's get into it. On Wednesday, November 24th,
Very excited. Me too. I've never watched this one before.
A man going by the name Dan Cooper
I'm
bought
nervous.
a $20 one-way ticket
Your first video
on
essay?
Northwest
Oh my
Orient
goodness.
Airlines with cash for flight number 305
A little
from
bit
Portland,
spooky.
Oregon to Seattle, Washington.
Good volume? Okay,
Cooper
good.
was described as being in his mid-40s and wearing a business suit, a black rain-type overcoat, brown shoes,
I wanna draw
a
my
white shirt,
shoes.
and black tie. He carried a dark briefcase and a 4-inch by 12-inch by 14-inch paper bag. Before the plane took off, Cooper, seated in seat 18C, ordered a bourbon and soda.
He seems like a cool
yeah.
dude.
I don't think he even ordered the bourbon and soda to calm his nerves. I think
No,
he
he's
just did
probably
it
just
'cause
like
he's a
bourbon
badass.
soda. Now, I'm DB Cooper. I'm a mystery man. Give me the bourbon. It's a big gulp.
After the plane had taken off, a little after 3 p.m.,
Probably gotta draw my
Cooper handed the
OCs, to be
stewardess
honest.
a note. At first, she just put it in her pocket without looking at it. But then Cooper said, quote, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb."
We're
End
can't
quote.
art fight. Let's go.
What's so funny about that? He has a bomb.
I think it's funny that he passed her a note to be discreet about it. Keep this on the down low. And then she was just like, thanks! And walked away. And he was like, hey, you might want to read that because I've got a bomb. Oh, God damn it. Yeah, I got a bomb, everybody.
Cooper told her the bomb was in his briefcase and asked her to sit next to him. He opened his briefcase to show red-colored sticks surrounded by an
Who's
array
Steve?
of wires. After that, Cooper
Oh,
asked
from
the
Stranger
stewardess to
Things.
write down what he was saying and take it to the captain. Quote,
don't know what to
I want
draw."
$200,000 by 5 p.m. in cash. Put in a knapsack. I want 2 back parachutes and 2 front parachutes. When we land, I want a fuel truck ready to refuel. No funny stuff, or I'll do the job.
No funny stuff.
I also like how he says, do the job.
I'll do the job.
Like that's his threat, which actually to
That's
me,
badass.
he's not a dime store criminal. Let's just say that.
I'm
on board with the Coop train.
Me too. I'm a fan of this guy.
You a big Coop head?
I'm a coop head.
One odd detail was that Cooper asked for the $200,000 to be exclusively in $20 bills. The flight landed in Seattle, and Cooper exchanged the 36 passengers on the plane for the money and the parachutes he had requested. Cooper kept some crew members on the plane and had the plane take off for Mexico City, requesting that the plane remain below 10,000 feet. During the second half of the flight, Cooper put on a pair of dark wraparound sunglasses with dark rims. that would
What
later
is
become part of
this?
The sketch that would become famous for anybody familiar with the case.
Yeah, I'm just imagining like a camera
Who-
just pushing in on him as he's like,
If we were in today's age, this guy would definitely have headphones in, playing Spotify playlists of epic soundtracks.
he'd
like
have
he-
one of those shitty hoverboards.
Not an actual hoverboard, but
Yeah,
the
he'd
shit
be
that-
like, or I'll do the job. And he'd take out his wheels, put them down, start moving up and down the aisle. Knapsack, or I'll do the job.
A little after 8
Yo,
p.m.,
Cootie Queen, thank you
it
so
was
much
somewhere
for the
between
8
Seattle
months.
and
Oh my
Rio,
goodness,
Nevada.
thank you.
Cooper jumped out of the rear
Really
doors of
appreciate
the
it.
Boeing 727 with 2 of the parachutes and
Ayo.
never to be seen again.
What?
One thing worth noting is that Cooper took off his black JCPenney clip-on tie before jumping, a piece of evidence that the FBI was able to procure a DNA sample from.
You think James Bond ever wore a clip-on bow tie?
Yeah, I guess that was. That does kind of.
That's kind of takes the wind out
Well,
of my
maybe
sails a little
if
bit.
he like knew he had to do it quick, and that was
Still,
like
but
an efficiency thing.
If he was like, I'm gonna put my sunglasses on, it'll look cool. If he was like, Clink.
With the DNA sample from the tie, let's jump into the investigation launched to identify the man who called himself Dan Cooper. The case was called Norjack, standing
Dan
for Northwest
Cooper.
Hijacking, and would last decades. The plane was intensely searched for evidence. Desperate to find Cooper's identity, there was extra interest in $20 bills, because the FBI had released the serial numbers of the bills stolen by Cooper. Remarkably, in 1980, 9 years after Cooper's escape, a young boy found a rotting package filled with $20 bills that
What?
matched the ransom money serial number.
What?
There was $5,800 in all. The boy found the bills on a beach at Tina Bar while making a campfire with his father. People theorized that when Cooper jumped out, the money possibly fell into the Washougal River before
Huh?
eventually making its way to Tina Bar.
I'm so confused in this
That's
video
basically
essay.
all they've theorized. I'm just imagining him just jumping out and immediately just losing grip of all the bags. Just a man plummeting to earth with a bunch of money flying around him and being like, ah!
Though, this discovery would ultimately lead to nothing, as the FBI scoured the surrounding beaches, finding nothing else. In the year that followed the hijacking, several letters were sent to the FBI. The New York Times, the Washington Post, the Los Angeles Times, and Seattle Times, either confessing to the crime, eulogizing a recently deceased D.B. Cooper, or claiming to be his brother. In fact, in
What?
November 1972, two men,
How have they not
Sylvester
figured this
Murphy
one
and
out
William
yet?
John Lewis, were
Hello,
taken into
hello,
federal custody
BuzzFeed?
on charges of
Exactly.
extortion
BuzzFeed.
for impersonating
Your PNG
Cooper
Cooper is so
and
cool.
selling
Thank you
his
so much.
tell-all story to a
The
tabloid.
locks,
It
yes.
seems like a bad idea to make
Locks
your
are so
debtor
fun to
choice
draw. I love them.
to impersonate a criminal.
They're so pretty.
Yeah, that's
I wouldn't be like, ha, hey, it's me, the Zodiac Killer. I'll tell you a story. What? Oh.
Hello, hello,
Leads were
welcome.
tracked all over the country, and more than 800 suspects were considered over the first 5 years of the investigation. All but 24 suspects were eliminated from consideration. One peculiar fact is that the initials DB have no actual relevance to the case, and the FBI isn't sure where they came from. It was reportedly a
What?
mistake from a wire service that caused him to be called DB Cooper instead of Dan
So his name
Cooper, which is
isn't
how he
DB
presented
Cooper?
himself when buying the plane ticket.
DB sounds cooler.
It does.
Dan just sounds like your neighbor who's like asking to borrow a lawnmower.
The physical description of
Hello,
Cooper is
Fillerat,
thought to be
hello.
very accurate. Two flight attendants spent
American
hours
Police
with
Force,
him on
that's
the plane
true.
and were interviewed separately the night the hijacking occurred. They gave nearly identical descriptions of Cooper, saying that he was 5'10" to 6 feet, 170 to 180 pounds, in his mid-40s, and brown eyes. People who interacted with him on the ground gave similar descriptions. His voice was described as low, no particular
From the media?
accent, but spoke with
That's
an
crazy
intelligent
though.
vocabulary.
Like it just popped up.
some bourbon and some money, or I will do the job.
Sounds like a terrifying version of Siri.
It's me, Dan.
The charge against Cooper was originally air piracy, but that had a 5-year statute of limitations, and as time went on, with no suspects being found guilty, a grand jury later indicted Cooper for violating the
Are we
Hobbs
drawing
Act.
today? I'm just
The
kind of
Hobbs Act
doodling.
is a federal
I
statute
have a couple
designed to prevent
characters. Sorry,
extortion.
I have a
It has
couple. I have a couple characters that I need to make reference sheets for, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna be doing that or what's actually gonna be happening. But yeah.
no statute of limitations, meaning if Cooper was found tomorrow, he could be charged even though the FBI investigation has since been called off. Before we jump into suspects, I'd like to point out that the pilot told officials that he himself chose the route the plane took, not Cooper. Cooper only requested his end destination of Mexico City, a decision that is a bit puzzling when you consider the fact that Cooper knew he intended to jump out of a plane. This seemingly eliminates the possibility of Cooper having an accomplice, as there was no coordination about the route from Cooper, and therefore no coordinated drop point.
This is what always interested me about this case. It's
What
because
is
it
his
seems
goal?
so meticulously planned up until he jumps.
Maybe he's one
Yeah,
of those
music
people
clips
that like
today, yeah.
goes out to do things like I'm kind of like this too, where I'll go out and I'm like, I'll figure it out in the moment.
Or he was confident and he nailed it.
With that, let's jump into the suspects. The first suspect is Richard Floyd McCoy, who's the favorite suspect of former FBI agent Russell Kalam and former federal probation officer Bernie Rhodes. The two men even wrote a book about the case. In April 1972, 5 months after Cooper's escape, the FBI arrested Richard Floyd McCoy for hijacking an airplane. When examined, the McCoy heist is definitely similar to the Cooper heist. Like Cooper, McCoy hijacked a plane and parachuted off.
There's too many
McCoy
details.
jumped out
His
the
goal
back
is
rear
crime, I
staircase of
guess.
a Boeing 727, the same plane Cooper jumped out of, using the same method. Also like Cooper, McCoy requested 4 parachutes and was calm during the heist. Reportedly, both of the men passed notes to the flight attendants claiming a bomb was on board. A detail that becomes more compelling when you learn that both Cooper and McCoy's notes reportedly contain the phrase, "no funny stuff." Another
No funny
suspicious
stuff.
coincidence is the fact that both crimes reportedly occurred while Brigham Young University, where McCoy was a student,
Rap party
was on
time.
break.
Rap party
He
time.
was a student?
In this theory, yes.
I was thinking about it in like a cold, hard criminal way. I wasn't thinking like spring break. That sounds kind of fun.
Do you think that's what he yelled when he jumped out the plane? Just falls out to his death.
Spring break!
Perhaps the most riveting detail is that according to Kalam and Rhodes, members of McCoy's family identified an object left on
Drawing
the
a
plane
video
by
essays.
Cooper.
Yeah.
An object
We're-
that was
we're-
never publicly
we're vibing.
identified. Some parts of the internet seem to believe that this object was a Brigham Young University medallion with McCoy's initials on it, but this seems to stem from the Wikipedia page on the case, which
Huh.
makes this most likely complete horseshit.
What
I
the
mean,
fuck?
thing is, if that's the case closed.
Yeah,
Brigham Young University medallion with his initials on it. I mean,
but it's not definitive. It's not
they just said unidentified object, which is probably like a stick of gum or some stupid
right.
shit.
Oh, he chewed.
He
juicy
chewed
fruit for
Wrigley's.
sure. Yeah.
He chewed Wrigley's.
Oh, he was a big juicy fruit man.
Regardless if McCoy is Cooper or not, the FBI eventually ruled out McCoy as a suspect for the Cooper case, mainly because he didn't match the descriptions of Cooper given by the flight attendants, though Kalam and Rhodes listed the two men as looking similar. Additionally, according to FBI archives, McCoy was home with his family for Thanksgiving dinner in Utah the day after the hijacking. Unlike
It's my first
Cooper,
time watching a stream of
McCoy was
yours. I've been
actually
watching
caught
your
after
VODs
his
lately.
heist
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
sentenced to 45
Glad you can
years
make it
in
live.
prison. McCoy would actually escape from prison
Hope you have a
in
good time.
Lewisburg,
Just joined.
Pennsylvania,
Welcome.
and later die in a gunfight with FBI agents in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I just love how that story has so many
I know.
he's out.
It's like,
He's not
yeah.
out. He's out.
Huh?
Shot to death.
Oh.
That was a roller coaster of emotions right there. The second suspect is Dwayne Weber, who claimed to be D.B. Cooper on his deathbed. His wife, Jo, claims that in the hour of his
Joe
death,
Mama.
Dwayne
Sorry.
pulled her close and said, quote, "I have a secret to tell you. I'm Dan Cooper."
What?
I was trying to take a drink, and I just imagined. Close. I have a secret to tell you. I'm the phantom of the sky. I bet she did not see that one coming.
She's probably gonna be like,
Did he cheat on me?
exactly. Did you cheat on me?
I'm a man of myth.
This revelation led to Joe revisiting what should have been clear clues. According to Joe, Dwayne had nightmares where he'd sleep talk about, quote, leaving fingerprints on a plane. He also had a knee ailment that he claimed he got jumping out of a plane. Dwayne's handwriting was reportedly found in the margins of a library book on D.B. Cooper. Joe also claims Dwayne took her to the place where the money was eventually found on Tina Bar Beach. That's interesting. If that's true, that is interesting.
Wait, what did he write in the margins? This was me.
Cool guy. Coolest
did-
guy in history.
I
Nice
did this too.
sunglasses. Wow. Bourbon's great. And finally, Joe claims that Dwayne had an old Northwest airline ticket for no apparent reason. 29 years after he left the case,
suspicious.
here's a quote from former lead FBI agent Ralph Himmelsbach on Dwayne Weber. Quote, "He does fit the physical description. He does have the criminal background that I have always felt was associated with the case." End quote. Himmelsbach also believed that Joe Weber's story may have credibility, but ultimately did not believe it was him. She may be telling the truth,
Sounds pretty credible. I don't believe
but
her.
she's probably lying. The third and final suspect is Kenneth Christensen, the favorite suspect of the author Jeffrey Gray. The theory
Okay.
began when Lyle Christensen, the brother of Kenneth Christensen, saw an episode of Unsolved Mysteries and became convinced that his brother was D.B. Cooper. Lyle also
Oh.
cites a deathbed confession from his now late brother.
Imagine, like-
Kenneth reportedly said, quote, "There is something
don't
you
know.
should know, but I cannot tell you." End quote.
And then he died?
And then he died. Talk about a guy who appreciates a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's great.
I could, you know what? Touche, Kenneth. Kenneth was a flight purser for Northwest Orient Airlines, the same airline that Cooper hijacked, which would support online suspicion that it
This
was
your
an
favorite
inside
video?
job. Kenneth also loved
I've
bourbon
heard people like
and
this
bought a
one.
house shortly
I've
after
never
the
seen this
crime,
one before.
though it was reportedly unassuming. Perhaps the most enthralling part of Gray's theory is the fact that when he showed a picture of Kenneth to a flight attendant who interacted with Cooper, she agreed that of all the suspects she had seen, Kenneth was the closest. Though, she also said, quote, "I can't say yay." End quote.
I can't say
Bizarrely,
yay.
the FBI debunked Kenneth on the basis that he didn't match the description. So once again, the FBI coming in hot with some weird I don't know. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
You're cool, FBI. I'm just saying.
You don't want to make enemies of the deep state.
I don't. Especially now with never mind.
Yeah.
Another reason the FBI discredits Kenneth
Yo,
as a
Moral,
suspect
thank you so much for the
is because
5 months.
Kenneth was
It's
a
been so long,
paratrooper
it
just after
has.
World War II, a detail that is damning
I'm here.
according to the FBI, who believes that Cooper was not a
Welcome
skilled
back,
jumper.
welcome back.
Maybe he was masquerading as an unskilled jumper.
That's an interesting suspicion, and perhaps well, let's get into the next section. And
Greatest
maybe,
way to fool someone is to act a fool yourself.
Is that
Julius Caesar.
no,
Shakespeare.
no.
That's not.
No, I didn't think so.
I thought you'd fall into that one.
No. Which brings us to our next suspect, or rather theory, from Special Agent Larry Carr, that D.B. Cooper did not survive the fall.
I
Agent
feel like
Carr
he
took
didn't-
over the
okay.
D.B. Cooper case in 2007. Here's a quote from him.
I feel like he didn't survive. Like, you jump out of an airplane with, like, and no one finds you. I don't think he's alive. Sorry.
Quote, we originally thought Cooper was an experienced jumper, perhaps even a paratrooper. We concluded after a few years this was simply not true. End quote. Here's some details that
What do you
support
guys
that
think?
narrative. Cooper jumped
Do you guys have
carrying
a
2
theory?
parachutes. However, only one of them was a functioning chute. The other was a training chute that was sewn shut.
They'd eventually find their
Furthermore,
body?
The chute that
I
was functional was
guess.
a military chute. that
Unless
was
someone
not
found it
steerable.
first.
He's kind of starting to sound like an idiot.
A little bit.
The whole time he's like,
He went creative mode.
here's your note. I'm the cool guy. Sunglasses. Jumps out the plane. Splat.
It's not a splat. I think a pine tree just. Just like, no.
Dude is probably dead. He evaporated on the way down. Maybe he got lucky? I guess. I don't know.
Here are some more details from Agent Carr. Quote, no experienced parachutist would have jumped in the pitch black night, in the rain, with a 200-mile-an-hour wind in his face, wearing loafers and a trench coat, end quote. Other reasons he possibly died in the fall include him jumping into a wooded area at night, and there was no visibility of the ground at the time that he jumped, as there was a cloud cover at 5,000 feet.
So this guy's a dum-dum.
He's a dum-dum. He's a big dum-dum. Big dum-dum floating in the sky with a stupid trench coat blowing in the
Just
wind.
loafers.
Obviously, this theory loses a bit of credence due to the fact that his body or chute were never found. The last theory we will discuss comes from a group of amateur scientists that refer to themselves as citizen sleuths.
That's frankly kind
Hey,
of.
hello.
Yeah, and that's why I like this.
Hello.
Okay. Well, let's see what your friends have to say.
The animals feasted on him? Yeah.
He's gonna
But then wouldn't you find, like, the
Citizen
remains,
sleuths
like,
employ
in the
use of
forest
an
or whatever?
electron microscope
Like,
to
if an
discover
animal
more than
did eat him?
100,000 particles on D.B. Cooper's tie. Among these
don't
particles,
know.
they discovered cerium, strontium sulfide, and pure titanium. According to lead citizen sleuths researcher Tom Kay, quote, these are what they call rare earth
We're
elements.
watching,
They're
video
used in
essays
very
and
narrow
sketching.
fields
Yeah.
For very specific things, end quote. Kay stated that although these elements were rare during 1971, one place they were being utilized was at Boeing, where they were developing an advanced supersonic transport plane.
Supersonic.
Kay and the citizen sleuths posit that Cooper may have been a Boeing employee, explaining the rare materials found on his tie. Quote, the tie went
been
with him into
buried?
these
Yeah.
manufacturing environments for sure.
Oh, Chad, just so you know, we're gonna be going back for, like, from more, like, kind of spooky video essays to more, like, light-hearted video essays, so if there's one that you don't
But he was
like,
not one
it's
of
likely the
people
next
running
one
these
you will.
manufacturing machines. He was either an engineer or a manager in one of the plants. End quote.
I feel like if you got a job at Boeing, just
Why?
hang
Yeah.
in
Why,
there.
why does he?
Get a nice 401k, retire. Why you gotta go jumping out of planes?
That's not how DB does it, baby. He likes bourbon, he likes adventure, and he likes notes.
Flying through the sky, screaming with a pair of loafers on.
Kay believes the key to identifying Cooper rests within the memory of perhaps one person in the Pacific Northwest who was involved in the aerospace industry at the time. If that person is you, all information can be
Me?
linked to the Citizen Sleuths via the
Me?
contact tab on their website, citizensleuths.com. The FBI called their search for D.B. Cooper one of the longest and most exhaustive investigations in its history. As of 2011, the FBI case file measured 40 feet long
Yes,
and covered more
me.
than 1,000 suspects. So what we presented here is only the tip of the iceberg. The case was open for 45 years before the FBI finally closed it in 2016, though they are still willing to listen to possible leads. What do you think happened?
I'm gonna go Occam's razor on this one and just assume that he rocketed into the ground. A little juxtaposition of him being on the plane being like, I'll have a bourbon. And then 2 hours later,
After all these years, people are still transfixed on the identity of the cunning crook known as D.B. Cooper. But for now, and perhaps forever, the case of D.B. Cooper will remain unsolved.
That's crazy. What? I feel like they should have been able to figure that one out. Do you know what I mean? Like, how can you just lose a person? Especially since people were looking for him. Like, what? That was a funny one, though. I like that one. Let me see. Which one should we watch? I want to watch... Every Sonic game is blasphemous. There we go.
Sonic the Hedgehog has been enjoying a bit of
This
a
is from
resurgence
Polygon.
as of late because of his upcoming feature film, which is great because you go, oh, those legs are way too human. Those legs are, oh my god, those legs look like I could have those legs.
I've never watched this
Please
either.
don't show that to me anymore. Please get it out of here. Stop. This new Sonic has a lot of fans crying heresy. Sonic should be that cute blue cartoon hedgehog that's
Sonic.
gotta go fast, and that's all he's gotta do. But what if I told you that this was not the only
I love this video.
blasphemous version of Sonic?
I'm
What if I
excited.
told you that nearly every single piece of Sonic media was heretical?
Oh?
I hold in my hand 13 pages that prove just that.
Do tell.
Before I hop into the deep end, I need to explain a little bit about Sega, these 13 pages, and
Sega?
how Sonic was made.
Isn't it
See,
Sega?
Sega was in a real tough spot in the early 90s as it tried to compete with
It's
Nintendo
Sega.
and the overwhelmingly successful Mario. So they worked internally
Good morning.
to create a new mascot,
Oh, I
not
have
just for a
coffee.
game, but for the company as a whole. Naoto Oshima created Mr. Needlemouse, a teal hedgehog with red sneakers, and then he worked with Yuji Naka to create a game around this wonderful creature. A few tweaks, and Sonic the Hedgehog was born.
Yummy.
Or at least one version of Sonic.
Hi.
You see, Sega wasn't just
Sonic
fighting
coffee?
with
You want
Nintendo,
more?
It was also fighting with itself. Sega of America and Sega of Japan had a lot of tension between
Iced
them.
coffee,
and they didn't
baby.
see eye to eye on a lot of things, especially when it came to Sonic.
Stream is going well,
The
thank
original
you.
version of Sonic was a bit more punk rock and had a girlfriend, a real life
Oh
human
my God.
girlfriend named Madonna.
Oh god.
We all know that Sega would never make Sonic kiss a real human woman. So Sega of America started to iron things out a little bit, make Sonic a bit more family-friendly, more marketable. Madeline Schroeder, the
Just joined,
self-described
welcome.
mother of Sonic, wrote out this 13-page Bible that set out Sonic's
Bible?
true origins.
There's a
These 13
Sonic
pages
Bible?
went on to become the true Sonic, the Sonic we all know and love, right? Nope. This Bible has had very little bearing on the series as a whole. But here's the thing, friends. It should have a lot of bearing on the series as a whole. And I am willing to wield this Bible as a paladin wields a holy sword so that I might excise sin out from the Sonic canon!
Oh my god.
That was a lot. I was a bit too intense I'm gonna tone it down a little bit. Folks, we're about to engage in a friendly session of biblical literalism. Now, I'm not one to advocate taking a written account.
Second
as the
time here,
pure
pretty
truth
cool.
and
Thank
nothing
you.
but.
I hope you're having fun.
But for Sonic, I'm willing to bend my values a little bit. We're about to take
Doo
everything
doo.
written in these 13 pages as gospel, and anything that deviates from the facts therein as sacrilege.
Okay.
It's sonically fundamental. I'm not going to read this Bible in its entirety. You can read it online if you'd like, but I am going to read the first paragraph in full because I think it's important for you to understand what we're dealing with. Sonny Hedgehog was born on Earth in the early 21st century in the town of Hardley, Nebraska. Population
Stan Brian David Gilbert.
1,226.
I don't know that
From the
much
first
about
line
him,
alone,
but
we
I know
already
people
that
like him.
1, Sonic's birth name is actually Sonny. 2, he is a real
Cute.
hedgehog that was born circa 2000. And 3, he's a Midwestern boy. He and his mother and 5 sisters live underneath a scraggly hedge beside the local burger joint and subsist on burger scraps, milkshakes, and the occasional slug or bug that crawls their way. They are
Oh.
a poor but happy family. From these lines, we know that 4, Sonic's family lives in an actual hedge, which is, I guess, why they're called hedgehogs. And 5,
I
they have a very similar
That's
diet
so
to me.
weird.
Unfortunately,
I don't know
Sonny's
about
dad
that.
died when Sonny was just a few days old. after
Sonny the
falling into a
Hedgehog.
gurgling, festering vat of toxic
Um.
waste dumped in a nearby pond. What?
Sweet.
Sonic, the lighthearted hedgehog we all know and love, never knew his father because he was reduced to sludge thanks to corporate pollution. There are 30 key tenets in the Sonic Bible, and I'm just gonna go ahead and list them off real quick. I'm sure that wherever he had terribly good eyesight around the local bowling alley. Sonny was on the team, even kindly mustachioed. I'm using it to even Kintabor's
Oh my God.
computer science began running most of his. From now on, my name is Sonic. Disgusting.
There's so much Sonic lore.
Last one. 30 tenets of the Sonic the Hedgehog Bible. Look at him up there. Beautiful. Practically glowing with potential energy. The potential energy I shall release into a holy flame so that I might burn out the blasphemy from Sonic's modern iteration!
Sonic has daddy issues.
Okay. Water, yeah, I think that'd be good. Now, most of these are not found in most of the iterations of Sonic, but there are 3 that specifically decanonize every game in the Sonic franchise. Let's talk about it. Number 18. There are 7 Chaos Emeralds, 1 is a stabilizer. You might have heard me say the name Kintobor. He turns into Dr. Robotnik after he is fused with the powers of the Chaos Emeralds and a hard-boiled egg. Not a joke, but he was originally looking for the Chaos Emeralds, so that way he could bundle them up and then launch them into space, thus reversing all pollution on the planet Earth. The reason
Sick.
for this is because the Chaos Emeralds contain a microlytic copy of all the inert energy of every gross and disgusting impulse or deed done by
Is Defunct Land on the
since
playlist?
beginning of
It's
time.
not, but I do like those
Ignoring
videos.
that microlytic is the name of a
Maybe I'll
company
add
and not
some.
an actual scientific term. This seems to state that the Chaos Emeralds are
I'm
just
gonna
a
draw some
crystalline
big ass
form
shoes. Hang
of
on.
every gross impulse.
Big shoes
Every
are the
time
best
you pick your
shoes.
nose instead of using a tissue, that's in the emerald. Every time you wear your underwear 5 times in a week because you think it doesn't smell that bad, that's in the emerald. Every time you go 3 days without shampooing, I get it. Look, sometimes, you know, the shampoo has sulfates and that can damage your hair.
Big
We all
shoes
have different
drip.
scalps. But
Yes.
that's in the emeralds too. Most of the games just state the Chaos Emeralds are an incredible source of power, something that will help you take over the world or become supersonic. They don't ever
Supersonic.
mention that they're essentially just garbage diamonds. Had Sega included one piece of flavor text, like, you got a Chaos Emerald, you should probably go wash your hands now, then it would have been fine. But they didn't. Number 21. Kintobor was a father figure. Just as a reminder, Sonic's dad died in a vat of toxic waste, which is why it meant so much when Kintobor offered him an assistantship. Sonny was thrilled at the prospect, because although Sonny had never known his father, Kintobor reminded him of the kind face in the photograph. Heartbreaking. Can you imagine the drama in this? Sega, you keep trying to do these gritty reboots of Sonic. Sonic plus gun. Sonic plus getting kissed by a human
Glorious
woman.
hair, yes.
You don't need all that. It's all right here. You are literally pitting Sonic, a hedgehog without a father, against the man who became his father figure and then turned evil thanks to the machines that Sonic helped create. I hear you saying, Brian, there's no evidence that Sonic doesn't think of Robotnik as a father figure. And to that I say bullshit! I have never seen him cry after defeating Robotnik. I have never seen him hold the lifeless body of his father figure
Oh
and
my
say,
God.
I am sorry. It had to turn out like this. I'm sorry. Let Sonic
This video
cry
is so
over the
chaotic.
loss of what could have been,
Oh
Sega,
my
you
goodness.
cowards. And finally, the third and most important tenet that destroys the entirety of the Sonic canon. Number 11. Sonic helps quilters. Have you ever seen Sonic in a quilting circle? Because he should be there. While making the rounds for juicy tidbits and gossip, he would drop in on the ladies of the local quilting circle to offer a convenient pin or needle from his ample portable supply. Where is my Sonic game with a quilting circle? Sonic CD, shitty. Sonic Mania, trash. Sonic Hedgehog 2, more like Sonic the Hedgehog 2, much of a dunce, to include the quilting circle that is so
I want the
integral
quilting
to
circle.
Sonic's backstory. And with that, we have decanonized the entirety of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. But from this scorched earth can bloom a mighty flower, the true Sonic the Hedgehog. What would that video game look like? What are the ramifications of a Sonic the Hedgehog game
So powerful.
based on the Bible. The Sonic the Hedgehog Bible. Let's go through this piece by piece. We start the game with a legitimate hedgehog who lives in a hedge, and his name is Sunny, and it's 2019, and he's got brown quills, and they won't become blue until he gets faster, and he eats food that is similar to the food that I eat. He lives in Hardley, Nebraska, which is where the entire game is set, so you better get ready for running in lots of cornfields. His eyesight's not so good, but it's okay because he'll get rec specs, since he is able to read but is also on the track team, so the entire game is actually just running in track meets in the middle of a cornfield. When he's not running track, he's at the bowling alley, or the playground, or the quilting circle, doing normal hedgehog things. The problem is that his town has so much pollution, which is how his dad died, and it's also why Kintabor, now Robotnik, the trim
Hi,
kindness
hello.
scientist who gave Sonic his new nickname and the ability to speak the human tongue, was trying to solve with his new physics theories and his machines and all of those terrible, gross 7 Chaos Emeralds before he became evil and also a bit
The
of an egg.
terrible
This is especially
Chaos
rough because
Emeralds.
Kintabor, before he became Robotnik, would feed Sonic really good food and was basically a father figure to him. Also, Sonic is good at computer science. So the game is basically an evil polluting scientist being taken down by a Midwestern
Just got here, what is
teenage hedgehog
happening?
track
We're
star with daddy
watching
issues. So it's basically
Brian
CW
David Gilbert,
rebooted
I guess.
Sonic.
I don't know what's
Good job,
happening.
CW. I will license this, but I haven't used all 30 of these tenants. See, there are 4 of them that, to be perfectly honest, shouldn't be possible. And beyond that, they are impossible to put into a game. I've hit a bit of a roadblock. Number 7 shows Sonic's dead father winking at him through a picture on the wall, which proves the existence of an afterlife in the Sonic universe. Number 15 shows that Sonic is able to hibernate below delta waves, and those are the slowest possible brain waves, about 0.5 hertz.
New, I love your drawing. Thank you so
Below them,
much.
Sonic would
Thank
have
you.
probably died, and yet he is resurrected. and
I don't know
lives
if I'm
again.
gonna keep this
And
character or
number
if I'm gonna
24,
sell this
Sonic is
character. We'll see what
shown to
happens.
run at the speed
I
of
like
light,
him
and
so
if
far.
the rules
So
of relativity are to be believed, that means his mass would have to infinitely expand, and he would need infinite energy to do this, and that would destroy the world. And yet he is able
Hi,
to
Rod.
do that
Hello.
without harming himself or those around him. Number 30 is actually within the Bible itself. It states, but like most peaceful times in the 21st century, it didn't last long. This Bible was written in 1991, 9 years before the 21st century, and yet it prophesied our challenging political landscape.
How
These
did it
four
know?
pieces of information are not purely canonical information. They are divine miracles. So of course I could not put them into a game. They could only fit in a religion. So I went on a wiki.
Great art. Thank you so
almost
much.
Explainer of how to do things.
I
And knew
appreciate
somewhere
it.
Hidden in their beautiful imagery would be the way that I could spread the word of Sonic to the masses. And before you get upset with me saying, Brian, aren't you just starting a cult? Look at this
Love your
question
YouTuber bundle. Thank you so
answered by
much.
Cute Girl Core.
Thank
Technically
you.
speaking,
Welcome all the new people
cults
here.
are the same thing. So I have formed my religion around Sonic the Hedgehog, and guess what? I have a confession. I've never played a Sonic game. Never in my life. I only tell you this now because you've already made it this far into the video, and the
Oh
sunk
my
cost
God,
fallacy
this is the
states
most
that if you
chaotic
feel like
video
you've
I've ever
invested
watched.
something, you're gonna see it through to the end. But it's okay that I haven't played a Sonic game because that means I haven't been tainted. I have never beheld the false Sonic. Only someone blind
The
to
false
modern
Sonic.
blasphemies of the Sonic franchise could see as clearly as I. Because if a hedgehog could commune with the
Oh
dead,
my
be
God.
resurrected, run with infinite energy, and have his gospel prophesy the future, this
is
Sonic
insanity.
is a god or could kill God, and I do not care if there is a difference.
That's where that's from! Oh my god!
Hello,
Okay.
friends. I'd like to take a moment now and apologize for my recent outbursts.
Now I know.
I've taken some time and cooled down since the filming of this video, and though I suppose I could have just not uploaded it to YouTube, I decided it would serve well as a cautionary tale. You see, taking lore to be purely literal, whether that's for a video game or backstory for a TV show, is a dangerous rabbit hole that can often lead to anger. Biblical literalism is just an early form of fandom. Sometimes you gotta be a little bit more lenient, because sometimes the Bible was written to make a character more marketable to kids in the 90s. So let's learn.
I think
from
I
this
should give him a
example and
tattoo,
make
but I
sure
don't know
to
what
take
to
new additions
make it.
to our favorite things in stride, even if it's these legs. I'm sorry, I can't in good conscience agree with that. I do not agree with those legs. I'm sorry. If you spray painted my legs blue, I could cosplay as this Sonic. Do you think I should do that? I
No.
think I should spray paint my legs blue. Sonic cosplay. Just half down Sonic. I'm not gonna do anything else to my body, just... What are the ramifications of a Sonic the Hedgehog game based on the Bible?
God. Wait, okay, we gotta pick another one. That was pretty good. That was insane. Let's see. Let's do the Coraline bug theory. That sounds like it'll be pretty good.
This video is brought to you by Squarespace.
We'll get to the Luigi
When it comes
one.
to
We will,
websites,
we will.
online stores,
Just gotta
etc.,
space
there's
it
no place
out.
to build a beautiful online presence like Squarespace.
Yo, The Rock, thank you so much for the 15
Pretty sure most
months
of you have at the
of
very least
Prime.
heard
Thank
of the
you.
2009 stop-motion animated classic Coraline. Every time I watch Coraline, I
Yo.
get something new out of it, and I seem to gain a new sense of appreciation for just how much this film was.
I love
doing.
Coraline.
Obviously,
Coraline's one of my
there's the
favorite
creepiness
movies.
and the beautiful
So good.
animation, but there were storytelling elements that went above and beyond what most films cared to incorporate. I say films and not just animated.
I
films
visited the
because,
studio before. It
it's
was
just
really
the
cool.
truth. Many have theorized the details within Coraline and what their darker meaning was, and it's frustrating to hop into a Coraline video over 10 years after its release and try to say something new. But there is an aspect of the film that I feel hasn't been fully touched on, and that's the use of bugs. Coraline is littered with bugs. A lot of people will immediately think back to the iconic final web scene, but then there's also the bug room, aka the room where the door is. Within that room you got bugs for furniture, bug wallpaper, Other Mother eats a bug at one point, but that's not the end of it.
Yum,
In this
yum.
alternative universe, the dad rides a giant mechanical praying mantis. Coraline's bed has dragonfly decorations on top of it that later come alive. Her bedside table has a praying mantis to hold up her picture frame. There are bugs in the shower. At one point there are mosquitoes. She
Coraline
has a
traumatized
small
me?
bug
Ugh,
hairpin
I
that
watched
is
it so much as a little
consistently
kid.
throughout the film.
I've
Ladies and
always
gentlemen,
liked
the only
scary
car
things,
in
I
the
guess.
film is a Volkswagen Bug. I'll admit, this sounds a little jokey, which it is. I'm pretty sure adding a Volkswagen Bug was a very subtle way of having some fun with the material, but at the same time, for a film like this that puts in this level of detail, I just know all of this was placed here for a reason. And it was. Starting with the smaller stuff, let's
Yeah,
just
sure.
talk about the dragonflies. There's this blog post from Emmett Brady that
Is
goes
that better?
pretty in-depth about a lot of this, so I'm going to be referencing
Let me
it a
know.
lot. But dragonflies supposedly in European folklore are referred to as the devil's darning needles. Upon doing some more research, one article states they were also reputed to sew up the mouths of naughty children, hence the devil's darning needles, and make people blind and deaf, eye pokers, and ear cutters. Which, just saying, is exactly the kinds of acts done in Coraline. It's the core conflict of the film. Another bug used is the praying mantis, used at first as a photo stand, but later turning evil as it functions as a machine used by the dad to attack Coraline. Mantids are usually looked at as harmless creatures. Sometimes people make music about them. They're pretty wise. Just look at Kung Fu Panda. But Coraline turns that idea on its head for the sake of horror, using the trustworthiness of a mantis as a means of control, putting other father in a violent position. Then there are the beetles and the cockroaches, which simultaneously play such a big role and such a small role at the same time. They function as most of the furniture in this bug room, almost like henchmen for Other Mother. Brady's explanation for this is that cockroaches and beetles are often always around, but we don't see them, which I guess is why they make for great furniture replacements. Furniture is also lifeless, giving it a sense of immortality, which lines up with cockroaches and the idea that you can't kill them, which also lines up with Other Mother's intentions of trying to live forever. And lastly, there is of course the spider, which is kind of the core of this entire thing I'm getting at. Anyone who has seen the movie remembers the web scene, like I mentioned earlier, and that this entire time Other Mother was a spider, or a monster spider, or she's a spider, that's the point. It doesn't take much research to find that the meaning of spiders in folklore is not at all far away from what they are meant to represent in Coraline. On worldbirds.org it said that spiders in dreams represent fear. Freud believed that dreaming of spiders represents the mother that devours her children, which she does through possessiveness or guilt. When you dream of spiders, you are dreaming of webs, ancient knowledge, language, intricacy, and creativity.
I mean, that's
the
a bit of a
circle life,
stretch, but, you know, that's okay.
transmutation,
I
feminine
love Coraline,
power,
me
and
too.
creation. Keep in
So
mind,
good.
Coraline typically encounters Other Mother in this universe when she's dreaming. Is that not exactly what the Other Mother does to Coraline in the film? I also think the other bugs within the story are all working towards the spider, but I feel
Other
like this is
bugs.
pretty obvious considering their numerous attempts at harming Coraline, and the button eyes that they have. The spider thing is weaved through the entire story, as the opening credits start with her essentially injecting this quote-unquote evil stuffing into the Coraline doll, the way
wanna
a
give this
spider
character a
injects
little
poison into
headband,
its
I
prey,
think.
the way Other Mother is only ever seen eating a bug and her plates are consistently empty, the way she lacks the vision the way a spider does, how she uses surroundings as a means of
She's
luring
obviously
rather than
supposed to be like a
emotional
bug
attachment.
type.
But as usual, I gotta ask why. It's definitely cool that there are all these creative ways that the film implemented bugs into the story, but why did they do that? I mean, it's creepy, but there's gotta be a cooler reason than that. I do think bugs are weaved through the story to serve a greater purpose,
maybe not.
especially when taking into consideration
don't
the
know.
devouring mother trope. I don't doubt the core theme of the film is about a mother-daughter relationship, but I think
Bug
it uses
Pokemon.
the idea of bugs, prey, and power dynamics as a means of driving that idea home. Coraline is, in a sense, a movie about control. The way a dog owner can still own their dog in the afterlife, the way an abusive relationship and work schedule can own Coraline's father, the way humans take control over animals through banana slug hunting or through circus mice, or even the way humans take control over other humans, using a spider and its easily manipulated prey, the bug, Coraline, as a means of conveying that. There's a small moment in the film that never feels fully explained or expanded on, but that leaves me with an eerie feeling. It's when Coraline and Wybie are going about their night and
A moon
stop
pin? That could be cool.
mid-conversation as they see a bright balloon mysteriously floating through
cool.
the sky and into the top floor. They drop everything and, without saying
Definitely
a
gonna
word,
put stone
follow
stuff
said
in the hair.
balloon as if they're moths
We're
wandering towards the light,
accessorizing.
completely uncontrolled. Which is much more unsettling when you take into consideration that Other Mother is in control of this world, and she likely put that balloon there as soon as Coraline began to question the morality of Wybie's stitchings. All of that happening at the same
Eyebrow slit?
time really
Ooh,
makes
yes,
it
yes,
feel
yes.
like Coraline is the bug in this situation.
I agree.
In a blog post by Lottie McGuire, she writes that in fairy tales, insects are usually called upon to do impossible tasks, similar to how the bugs are treated in the other world. Which is true. Other Mother sends all these other bugs out to lure Coraline towards her, and she survives on this control. The only reason she's really alive is from stealing the souls of other children. The same way a spider survives only on control, through creating webs and stealing the lives of other bugs. But spiders can't help that, you know? That's just the way they are. We can't fix spiders, which I think is the same case
We
for
should
someone as
fix
abusive
spiders.
as Other Mother. Whereas Coraline's real mom is just emotionally neglectful, Other Mother
You guys can
loves
give,
Coraline, not
suggestions for this character if you
Coraline,
want.
but for herself in an insecure, validating way, which is crazy when we recall the beginning where Other Mother refills Coraline with bad stuffing, and that introduces another horror within the film, that Coraline is inherently her mother. But that's not to say the film doesn't end victorious in some way, as Coraline throws the hand down the hole and kills the Other Mother as well as the doll. I think it's also worth quickly mentioning that Coraline's real mother is specializing in gardening, which further proves the point that if she's studying or examining bugs and the way they interact or even disrupt her environment, the garden, that's almost the exact same way Other Mother looks at Coraline, as a disruption or something to be used rather than loved. But to wrap things up, I can admit that there isn't some secret subplot with bugs that I wish existed within the film, where maybe the cockroaches have a backstory we don't know about, but I do think bugs are a crucial part of what this film wants to say, that power dynamics within nature, no matter how minuscule, also exist in a form just as violent within households. And that's all I have to say about it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out Coraline and form your own opinion. And before you head out, I want to give a quick thank you to this week's sponsor, Squarespace.
Lip piercing?
Squarespace, if you didn't
Ooh.
already know, is a place where you
Yeah,
can
I'm
go
just giving
online
this
to build
character
your
so
brand,
many
whether that be through
piercings,
an online
and
store,
I
a
love
blog,
it.
a portfolio, you name it. They have a wide array of award-winning designer templates to make whatever you do make
That maybe?
look amazing, and they have
We got
24-hour
the symmetry
customer
going
service to
on.
walk you through any issues you
Love
run
your art
into.
style. Thank you so
The best
much.
part about it all is that if you go to
Thank you.
squarespace.com/Karsten, you can get 10% off of your first purchase. There's really no reason not to give it a shot. So thanks again, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Thank you. Alright, next video essay. That one was pretty good. Do we want to watch one on I'm Here, I'm Queer, Hello Rap Ready, Hello Bog Boy? Oh, what do we think about that one, chat? Coraline? Good. What are we in the mood for? More BuzzFeed Unsolved? I've got one that's about horror and video games. That seems pretty good.
The horror genre
We'll do
is
that
such a
one.
natural fit for video games to the point where it's kind of ridiculous. Among other reasons, people love horror because of the excitement and adrenaline that you feel from getting scared. If you hear something in a horror movie or see something in the background,
I
yeah,
love
it's
horror.
scary as fuck if done
didn't get a
right,
note
but
if
you
no.
still just get to sit there
Sorry.
and watch it unfold, crossing your fingies, hoping that the protagonist doesn't. But in a video game, if you see a guy with a chainsaw and a bag on his head running towards you, yeah, you can set down your sweaty cunt and just watch it happen. But if the game has done a good job at fully immersing you into the experience, you'll more likely let a couple squeeze rip and say, oh no, I'm scared, and now I have to fight this freaky fuck. Oh bother, what a day it is that I am having. And it's a completely different type of terror. This is the type of
That was
shit that
funny.
interests me, and this is the type of shit that I want to talk about today, right now, online. Also, notice how I titled the video Horror in Video Games and not Horror Video Games, because there's a lot of good examples of video games that probably aren't in the genre that still use
Yo,
horror
Rapper Stream,
effectively
welcome in,
to
welcome
make
in.
iconic, memorable gamer moments that gamers will be scribing into the Hall of Fame for many years to come, right up there next to Joe Flacco. Also, I'm going to be spoiling random parts of all of these games, so if you care about that, here's the door. Oh, I'm opening the door. Out you go, stupid. Where a lot of games are about constantly leveling up and making you feel more and more powerful, Amnesia is all about doing the exact opposite. It can truly make you feel like a scared idiot with no skills
I
except
love this man, thank
hide
you.
and seek by Imogen Heap.
What
that does
happened to you?
wonders in the department of making
Probably
gamers make
betting,
white
I
underwear
would assume.
turn yellow. Like from P. It's the same thing with viral indie hits like Slender. The game was made quickly and looks like dog shit, when Slender Man looks like a fucking thumb person from Spy Kids, which
God
would actually
damn,
be
roasted.
scary. Oh, but the gameplay mechanics of not being able to look at him for very long and knowing that he's always following you, that's the part that's scary. The game. You can't hotkey any of the controls in Five Nights at Freddy's. You can only use the mouse to do everything, which means it's way more intense because you're constantly whipping that thing around trying to handle a bunch of shit at once. Like Amnesia, a game called Eternal Darkness on the GameCube has a sanity meter, which means the main character can just go fucking batshit sometimes. And sometimes the game demonstrates that insanity by swapping the controls to different buttons on the GameCube con. And also the game breaks the fuck out of the fourth wall, which is a great segue to the next part of the video. Good job writing the video, Jacob. Thanks, asshole. Few things are as creepy as the sensation of feeling watched. So when the game that you're playing acknowledges the fact that you're interacting with it and kind of has the illusion of being self-aware and sort of reaches out of the TV to wave hello, that shit can be unsettling as f***. As I mentioned a second ago, Eternal Darkness does just this. It will do shit like pretending to turn the volume down on your TV and even fake you out while saving, claiming that you just successfully deleted all of your saved progress. Zooey mama, that's scary. The Metal Gear Solid series has a reputation for breaking the fourth wall and having cheeky little things like Psycho Mantis read your memory card saves and say shit like, I know you've been playing Castlevania. But the creepiest example comes from Metal Gear Solid 2, where the simulation, or whatever you want to call it, begins to unravel, and the Colonel, or whatever you want to call him, begins to say a series of extremely unsettling things, not only to Raiden, but directly to the player as well.
That's sick. I don't play a lot of video games, but like...
Right now.
What did you say?
The mission is a failure. Cut the power right now.
What's wrong with you?
Don't worry. It's a game. It's a game just like usual.
You'll ruin your eyes playing so close to the TV.
What are you talking about?
Honestly, though, you have played the game for a long time. Don't you have anything else to do with your time? This is why we chose you.
Get fucking roasted.
accepted
Hi,
the
hello!
mission we
For game on
provided,
stream when?
obeyed
I would
our
love to.
orders, and did everything
Oh,
you
chat,
were
there's this
told.
game called like, oh my god, what's it called? I really want to play it. It's like you're in this like, these like train cars, I think. And like you go from car to car and it's like sort of horror, but like puzzle. I forget what it's called.
It's taken a lot
But yeah, I
of
want to
time
play that at
and
some
money,
point.
but it was well worth it considering the results. I think that's enough talk.
But my personal favorite fourth wall break comes from one of the Scarecrow encounters.
Subway
in
Midnight, yes,
Batman
yes,
Arkham
yes,
Asylum.
that's it.
You're just playing the game, doing Batman shit, and then this happens.
Spooky. It's the Joker!
I've waited a long time for this. Let's start the party with a bang.
And this is after Scarecrow had already appeared and fucked with the game a
Five
couple
Minutes
times,
good.
which was
I want to play.
surprising on its own. I think we can agree that these segues are pretty good. Up until a certain point in Arkham Asylum, you're just running around doing action-adventure Batman type shit, and then things start to get a little bit willy crazy. Wait a second, I don't remember these walls falling apart. Wait, when did these bugs move in? Wait, why am I talking to my dead parents in the morgue? Oh, Scarecrow! Oh, ding, 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 ding. It's Scarecrow. Uncharted 1. Simple action game, right? Amba Jones type adventure ROM, right? Wrong! Up until almost the end of the game, Uncharted 1 is
I think
a
you would
fun,
like the closing
lighthearted
shift. It's
action
Scar.
adventure
It's
ROM.
about a lady that
And
works
then
at a
Naughty
coffee
Dog
shop
was
and
like,
thinks
hey,
cops. Ooh,
you guys
creepy.
want to fuck around and make a 14-year-old shit in his only good pair of Wrangler jeans? Oh, hell yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Ooh, 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 Naughty Dog. And then the game puts you on this old-ass, Titanic-ass, my heart will go on, Celine Dion-looking-ass, stupid boat with no communication with Sully, no music cues, no nothing, just Drake and his flashlight, and then this happens.
Creepy vibes.
Oh shit.
Goddamn.
In a regular horror game, this wouldn't be especially scary or memorable, but like Batman, it's the defying of expectations that completely rips out the rug from under you. Bloodborne. That was a moment of silence for everything that Bloodborne does right.
Bloodborne.
Now, I know that we all know how I generally feel about Red Dead 2. But Red Dead 2 is actually really good at using horror in some of the side quests and encounters. Most of you who've played the game are probably familiar with the pig farm encounter. If you're not, I'll educate you. Basically, two incestual weirdos invite you into their house to then roofie you and then rob you. And then you wake up in a pit after they've knocked you out, and you can go back to the house and get your revenge and get your money back and do a kickflip. But if you're a curious little cat, before you sit down at the table to then, get knocked out and robbed, you can kind of snoop around the house and inspect shit, basically piecing together that these two fuckwads definitely killed their mom. But one of the most unsettling and chilling things that I've ever seen in a game is if when you wake up in the pit outside and then you go get your revenge, if you don't kill the lady and instead hogtie her and pick her up and take her over to the pit that they put you in, she says this.
No! What are you doing? No! Please, no! Please, I'm sorry. Not here. Mama! I'm sorry, Mama. I'm sorry.
The game has unique dialogue just for this insanely specific situation that most gamers, myself included, wouldn't have even thought to do, which is so cool and makes me wish that other parts of the game were also cool, because then I would make a calm. Silent Hill 4 lets you look through a little peephole when you're back at your apartment, and usually you just see this girl walking around with her stuffed bunny in the background. That's fine, whatever, no harm, no foul. See you later, Brogan. But then if you choose to keep peeping through the peephole like a fucking creep, eventually this happens. Oh, anyways, moving on.
Yikes.
Oh man, isn't this a fun and lighthearted video? BioShock has a ton of this stuff too. Lots of environmental storytelling and audio tapes that you can listen to give context to whatever. I'm just using BioShock as a segue into the next section about jump scares, which I realize is not my best work when it comes to these segues. Also, did you guys know
He just wants to be friends.
That the inventor of the Segway died from driving a Segway off a cliff? I'm not making this shit up. One time when I was in LA, I think it was either Eddie or Chris Raygun or someone was telling us about it. Now, I guess it's true that the inventor of the Segway was trying to like demonstrate how good he could stop, like how quickly he could stop. And he just fucking drove the Segway.
That can't be real.
Oh, fuck.
What's the video called? This one is
Unlike
called
games like Outlast that
Horror
eventually just
in
kinda
Video Games
make
by
you
Nakey
numb
Jakey.
to jump scares because they're just so constant. BioShock does the opposite. So when a jump scare does come, it comes hard. While exploring a creepy dentist's office, after looting some valuable items off a desk in the corner, the room starts to fill with fog.
What? You're crying!
Oh fuck, Mom, it's the dentist man and he wants to give me a filling. Oh no! Undertale is not a horror game, but sometimes it do be like that though. If you do a run of the game where you decide to just murder everyone, aka a genocide run as it's known by the fan base, the game ends with a specific character doing this.
Since when were you the one in control? Ah! That's fun.
Yeah, he kills you, and after shaking the fuck out of the game window, it shuts itself off.
Hello,
Ooh,
hello.
Fun, again. The first Resident Evil has a classic jump scare that anyone who's played the game...
This is part of the video. Oh. Spooky. He's gonna jump scare us, I bet. That's fun. That's fun. Lamau.
This brutal killing took place while the family was gathered at home on a Sunday afternoon. Don't touch that dial now, we're just getting started.
Super Mario 64 has a really dumbass jump scare where a piano randomly tries to eat you. We should probably talk about what just happened, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, PT gets its own section of the video because it is easily, like without a doubt in my mind, the most terrifying piece of media I have ever experienced. Movie,
Shit.
TV show,
That's a high
book,
praise.
song, podcast, whatever. Nothing even comes close to PT. This shit
What is
is
PT?
actually cursed. Like right now, I'm in my studio. There's obviously no footage playing behind me, but even just imagining that footage and fucking Lisa behind me, dude, I like actually goosebumping. This shit is just the ultimate cocktail of interactive terror. The game fucks with your head by repeating the same hallway over and over, sometimes changing it in minor or major ways. Not to mention the fucking ghost lady Lisa who is so fucking terrifying that I'm already dreading editing this part of the video. Sorry, Jacob.
Yeah, this fucking sucks.
Yeah, I bet it sucks. It's programmed into the game that at least for part of it, she's literally always following you and can project real-time shadows of herself in front of you
That's
among
not
other bullshit.
PTG's
The puzzles that you had to solve in order to beat the game are so obtuse that it basically turned everyone who played the game into an online conspiracy theorist that had to work together to reach insane realizations, like that at one point in the game you have to say a name out loud in real life into your PlayStation microphone. Like, what the fuck? All of these things created a game that not only felt like it was breaking the fourth wall and reaching out of the TV at you,
That's
but it
terrifying.
fucking was the fourth wall. Nobody
I don't
knew
play
what
a lot
this
of
thing
horror
was.
games,
It was
I
like
will
the
say.
tape from The Ring, and
That would
anyone that
freak
came
me
in
out, I think.
contact with it was just haunted by it, even when the PS4 was turned off. Yeah, try turning
Oh, wait.
PT into a horror
You know
book.
that meme that's like, it's me, boy! The PS5 speaking to you from inside your brain.
Or movie.
Does
or
anyone
TV
know what
show
I'm talking
or
about?
Podcast. You can't.
It's the
Because
same
it is a
vibes.
horror game 100% through and through. Before I end this video, I just wanted to take a second and let you guys know how much
No, I'm
I
so sorry.
super appreciate.
No, but
how
thanks for making me laugh with that
receptive you've
voice.
been to all of
You're
the
welcome.
Different.
You're very
types
welcome.
of content that I've been working on this year, whether it's videos about video games, which is obviously what I started doing on this channel, or videos about non-video gaming shit, which I'm just as
Yes?
interested
Okay,
in
some
making,
people
if
know what I'm
sometimes
talking about.
More
Great.
interested, or
Tumblr's favorite meme,
my
exactly. I'm not even on
music or
Tumblr. but-
whatever. I'm just really grateful that you guys have stuck around. 2019 has been a very transitional time for me that has just often
2019,
felt
this is an old video.
really weird or just
Uh-huh.
difficult in ways that I wasn't used to. But
Facts.
yeah, I just wanted to say, getting emotional, that I'm just really
I'm not used to drawing
thankful
guys.
that,
I'm so sorry.
you've
When I draw guys, they will be pretty feminine. This is just how it is.
stuck around through
That's
my
okay. Guys can be feminine.
creative processes and shit. I've been seeing a therapist, and I feel like she's made me. She's really great, but has made
This
me
person is
way
Nikki
more,
Jakey, I believe.
Like, open
Wait, is
with
it?
my
Yeah,
emotions,
Nikki
but also
Jakey. This
means
is
that it's,
horror and
like,
video games.
Way easier.
2019 was 3 years ago. I
quickly,
know,
like,
right?
make me cry and shit. But I'm just very grateful that all of you have not only been very patient with my creative processes, but have just been
Wow,
incredibly
we're listening to this
supportive,
guy's
whether it's
thing.
on Instagram,
Yeah.
or Twitter, or
Make sure to
email,
give
or
all of
Patreon
these
or
people
whatever.
who
I'm not gonna
I'm
lie,
watching
at
their
this
videos
point,
of
it's pretty hard
a
to
like and all
read
that.
and especially reply to everything I see on all these different apps.
Oh,
or,
what the heck am I-
email or whatever, but I do see a lot of it, and I
Hang
do
on.
really appreciate it. I don't really ever talk about my music in these videos, I guess, because I just try.
Okay. Let's pick another one, 'cause that goes on for a little bit. Should we do the SpongeBob theory? I've heard about this one.
This video is brought to you by Squarespace. When it comes to
Oh, wait.
websites, online
This
store-
one is by Karsten Runquest. I don't know how to say that, but it's called the SpongeBob theory. So if you look it up, you should be able to find it. Hi, hello, welcome. We're just about to start another one. Oh dear, I have messed this up. Go back. Okay. Hang on. I just gotta fix this canvas thing. Okay. Okay. There we go. Alright, here we go.
stores, etc., there's no place to build a beautiful online presence like Squarespace.
Get out your
This
popcorn,
is the third
chat.
installment in an unexpected yet incredibly popular series of mine where I take SpongeBob episodes and try to find the meaning in these very formative experiences the show's characters undergo. Whereas we usually end up talking about the old Squidster, today I want to talk about the Sponge himself,
Squidster.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
I never watched
Arguably the most
SpongeBob, but
traumatizing episode he's in. When you think of peak SpongeBob, you usually think of those first 3 seasons, but today's episode actually comes from well into season 5, and it's called Spongehenge. Spongehenge, a witty reference to Stonehenge, is one of SpongeBob's least funny episodes, but it's also one of its scariest, as it tells the story of SpongeBob being followed by jellyfish to a point where he has to escape society altogether. It's a very unsettling episode, and that's an understatement. It's also in a lot of people's top 10 worst SpongeBob episodes lists. But it's a lot more than that, and to understand why, let's take it from the top. The episode starts with 2 restaurant goers leaving a diner with takeout, when all of a sudden they notice a heavy gust of wind. The one fish claims it's Neptune, the god of the sea in Roman mythology, and the other claims everyone knows Poseidon is the ruler of the sea, which according to most websites is the actual truth, and is also the god of the sea for Greek mythology. At the end of the day, the wind blows away the fish's takeout food, and he screams, "Why, dear Neptune?" The leftovers fly over the city until they hit SpongeBob in the face. He licks them up and recognizes that it is indeed goulash. Now, goulash was an oddly specific choice for the writers to use, and I looked up the symbolism behind the dish, and I got nothing, it's just goulash. But in the process of tossing
There's
out
nothing
the
deep
goulash,
about
SpongeBob
goulash,
discovers a
it's just
sound
goulash.
that the wind makes in his holes. It doesn't take long for this music to reach a jellyfish.
I don't know if
who
it was
instantly
intentional,
grows
but your
pretty
sprite, I hope that's the right
attached
word,
to the
reminds me of
sponge. And by
Flygon from the
attached, I mean
Pokemon. Cool.
attached. He
I don't know what
crawls
that
into
is, but that's cool.
SpongeBob's head and
Can I
swarms
recommend
around
a
his
video?
brain
Yeah.
until the morning.
If you recommend
But
it on
come the
Twitter,
morning,
we'll
the
have a
jellyfish
break at one
doesn't wanna
point,
leave.
and
In
I'll
fact, he
add some
sends
more.
over a
So
swarm
I
of
have
jellyfish that
on my
prevents
Twitter.
SpongeBob from being able to go to work. He's eventually dragged
I
into work
have,
via
like, a
hook
thing.
by his boss, Mr. Krabs, only to show up
I
to
don't know
work
if that
pretty
makes
much dead. But he isn't at work for long because the jellyfish swarm the Krusty Krab and take him away. So now his work is gone, so where to next? Patrick's house, where the jellyfish actually sting Patrick and leads to Pat kicking out SpongeBob for being a negative influence. What a terrible friend, to be honest. So SpongeBob is forced to leave society, and he crawls into the one place they can't find or hear him, a cave, where he sits out for years and constructs a stone replica of himself using a rock and eventually grows that facial hair he always wanted. Then he gets the idea to use that rock, but bigger versions of it, to lure the jellyfish away from him. He essentially recreates Stonehenge, he goes back to Bikini Bottom, and the world is gone, a reference to the Planet of the Apes. Flash forward another few thousand years, and aliens have taken over and are still examining these strange rock figures.
Thank you.
And that's the end of the episode. And that's a pretty dark ending, no? I think this episode is definitely one of the show's most unsettling, like I said, as far as how it leaves you. For one, canonically, it assumes that those last moments were the last that Bikini Bottom saw of SpongeBob, and the last that we saw of Bikini Bottom altogether, which is pretty depressing considering Patrick's last words were that he was a negative influence and that Mr. Krabs spent his last moments reeling him in, abusing the poor lad. And SpongeBob just kind of disappeared and went crazy, and we're to assume he just went crazier and eventually died alone. And as soon as I learned that this was episode 99B, that's when it hit me that this is most likely just the last SpongeBob episode. We're forgetting one small detail though, and it's what happens at that beginning. If this really was Neptune or Poseidon, we're to assume that this wipeout was intentional, which leaves us with 2 questions of why did this happen and what is the point? And my first thought was, oh, maybe Poseidon is just
This is an
really
awesome
annoyed with being
episode.
called Neptune. A lot of this is him getting his revenge on society. But then I was like, no, it's gotta be more than that. In this episode are themes of both religious beliefs and climate change, and I think this episode serves as a statement for how a civilization reacts when both their beliefs and physical surroundings are altered. I do think the root of the entire episode is in that small conversation at the beginning, especially after further research into the religious lore of Bikini Bottom. Based on what I could find, Poseidon wasn't
There's
mentioned in the
religious
series
lore
at all
in Bikini
up until
Bottom?
this episode. He does later show up in Sponge on the Run, but honestly, that movie is so detached from everything else in the show, I don't even want to take it into consideration. But for the most part, it's been established many times that Neptune is in fact the ruler of the sea. Most
I don't know
notably
much
in
about
the special episode,
SpongeBob.
as well as the movie. But something I
I
noticed,
guess.
especially after this fish's argument, is that I don't think Neptune was ever a god. Sure, he had godly powers, but that didn't necessarily make him a god himself. In fact, in the first SpongeBob movie, it's made very clear that he's actually a king, and honestly, he's barely that. When he loses his crown and reveals his bald spot, he feels pretty powerless. Sure, he shares the same traits as the mythological god Neptune in that he has a short temper, but there's nothing in this movie or in any of the seasons that suggests King Neptune is a god. In fact, a god is technically ageless, and if King Neptune is going bald, it doesn't add up, which is my way of saying that she's right. This wind is definitely not King Neptune, but I also don't think it's Poseidon. See, I think Poseidon exists, sure. If I gotta include Sponge on the Run, I will. And it makes
Underwater
the case for him
Jesus,
being an actual god in this universe, but that said, that doesn't necessarily mean that this destruction is necessarily caused by Poseidon. Based on that movie, Poseidon just doesn't seem like the type to destroy Bikini Bottom for any particular reason. There's no lore suggesting he wants revenge or that he gets angry. It just doesn't add up. So now I'm like, what is this wind? For the record, the wind continues for the next 3,000 years. It never stops. And I'm just like, where is it coming from? Why is it happening? So I start thinking, Neptune. Oh, Neptune. The actual planet of Neptune is rarely, if ever, referenced in the show. Now, I'm not good with space science, but not only is Neptune made mostly of water, but it's also famously extremely windy. You Google the windiest planet and you literally get Neptune, which, if you know where I'm going with this, is to suggest that this episode is the story of a civilization crumbling physically and mentally as their entire beliefs and existence are questioned, as they have been living on a different planet the entire time. According to Ismail Hamdi, the only way for a god to die is to destroy the significance their names hold. In this conversation,
where is the
debunking
wind
of
underwater?
Neptune
I don't.
as the god of the sea essentially
I don't know.
kills Neptune as a god, redefining the name as less of a figure and more as the planet in which these fish live. Now, a few things. Something that immediately debunks this is the numerous times SpongeBob and his gang make their way onto land.
I will just say, as someone who has
Very
never
Earth-like.
watched a
When you look up
SpongeBob
Planet Earth on
episode,
the SpongeBob Wikipedia,
this is
there's
so
basically
confusing.
an episode for every continent out there. They've been all over the place. But most of this show, through this lens, can be assumed to be a hallucination or false reality. There's tons of theories that SpongeBob is hallucinating for most of the show. A concrete episode we can cite as an explanation for where we are in the universe is Sandy's rocket, where they go into space. In this episode, it's never specifically shown that they leave Earth. They do circle the moon, which is a stretch. Neptune is pretty far from that, but that's not really the point. They get there and they come back. And that said, maybe this isn't our moon.
Does this
Sandy's
make more
size
sense
suggests
to
that
people
this
who have
is
watched
actually way too
SpongeBob?
small.
What do you guys
My point
think?
is, it's never shown that they're specifically leaving Earth or coming back to it, so this could very well be Neptune the whole time. The thing about this theory is because it's rooted in a false reality, most of the episodes that prove Bikini Bottom takes place on Earth can be debunked because they've been living through a false lens. And also, a lot of those episodes don't add up with this original SpongeBob timeline I'm basing things off of. But their literal home isn't the only thing that breaks in this episode. In fact, there's a few things we should be looking at. One of which is obviously SpongeBob. SpongeBob's entire life falls apart, starting with what used to be one of his favorite activities turning into a nightmare, followed by him being late for the first time in his career as a fry cook, which coincidentally also ends up being his last, and then being beaten senseless by his boss, and then being left abandoned by his own best friend. The guy is tortured. What breaks is SpongeBob's perception of his surroundings. What's interesting about the religion in Bikini Bottom is that there aren't rules or whatever, the way there are rules and guidelines for certain religions in our world. From what I could find, nobody really knows the religions in Bikini Bottom. It's only vaguely understood that they worship King Neptune, and this episode proved some people disagree with that, which is horrifying. That debunking King Neptune, this singular figure, embracing the truth of their surroundings, is enough to cause such a chaotic disruption. Whatever they held on to with King Neptune was apparently tons of good morals, and it poses the
SpongeBob
question
drug
of what is
addict?
lost
I
for
don't
SpongeBob
know.
as he transforms into a psychotic
What?
mess, deprived of connection and forced to make do with a rock after assuming everyone hates him. I see this episode as a horror story, that after years of SpongeBob using jellyfish as food or as prey, that nature, now fully recognized, is coming back to haunt him, treating him and the rest of Bikini Bottom as prey. When that disassociation happens, SpongeBob
think this
loses his
piercing is
mind.
too
His
high
world
up
now
for me.
sanded over is gone.
Move
His
it
friends
down a little
assumed to have died, and like them, SpongeBob is assumed to starve and die a slow, painful death in a barren wasteland, which comes down to his legacy. His legacy is Spongehenge, a mysterious structure that, as proven by the aliens of the future, has this unknown origin. I mean, perhaps it's a happy ending, considering they serve as a place of celebration for jellyfish every year, but it's undoubtedly unsettling, seeing as though SpongeBob's only legacy, a legacy that's lasted thousands of years, was his final suffering. And I think that's it. While I usually like to find the meaning in why this show does what it does, Spongehenge is left ambiguous in a really terrifying way. That Bikini Bottom took place on Neptune all along, and that the citizens died a terrible, mysterious death with the realization of that.
Fine.
SpongeBob episodes usually leave you with some sort of message, and the message here is that the universe is something more powerful than any form of human connection.
That's
and that
such a
nature can be
dark
violent enough to wipe out entire
concept.
civilizations, if it
My
comes down to it.
God.
And that's how SpongeBob ends. So yeah, with all that being said, thanks for
Wait, that's
watching.
how
Check out
SpongeBob
Sponge
ends?
Pens
Like
and
the
form your own
entire
opinion.
show?
And before you head out, I want to thank today's sponsor.
Wait, is that how the entire SpongeBob like series ends, or like just a season? This man is ruining my childhood. I'm so sorry. That's what it sounded like he said. It's not? Okay. Okay. Glad someone's on top of the SpongeBob lore. I'm kind of liking how this character is turning out. The eyes are a little wonky. We'll fix that. He's so swag. So swag. Okay. Someone's got to keep track of the SpongeBob lore. I appreciate it. Oh my god, my skin! Guys, you know how I got a sunburn? My skin is peeling off and it's so gross. Oh my god. I was like, what's this? And then I just felt skin in my hand and I was like, oh, that can happen? Yeah, it can. That's what happens when you get a bad sunburn. Not fun. Not fun at all. What the fuck, Rat? I'm so sorry. It's like when you put super glue over your hand and then peel it off. I don't recommend that. Maybe like Elmer's glue. Don't put super glue on your hand. You guys are crazy. Doing an art study of both you and Beetle. Yo! Yee! I'm meeting Beetle soon. Less than a month. Okay. Let's find another one. Should we do the Waluigi Unraveled? Let's do that one.
Waluigi.
We love
the tall
Magnus
bastard
Argus.
man that Nintendo loves to disrespect. We know he's #1, but who really is he? And where did he come from? And why hasn't Nintendo given him his own game? The cult following of Waluigi cannot be overstated. He is an icon, the patron saint of weird content creators. But isn't it strange that this character so beloved by Nintendo fans seems to be completely disregarded by the company? I don't believe that's actually the truth. Nintendo cares almost too much about their characters. They rarely put a character into a game unless they're 100% sure it's a good fit. And I think this is the reason why Waluigi has been sidelined. Nintendo doesn't know what Waluigi is all about. So, Doug Bowser, I have collected every single piece of Waluigi lore into this one simple video, and I'll be presenting it to you so you can finally make that Waluigi game.
Do 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 do.
Wahaha! That was my first attempt. I'll get better. In order to understand Waluigi perfectly, we have to take a look at every appearance he's made in a Nintendo game. They're the only ones that count toward canon. If you'd like me to discuss Waluigi's non-canonical appearances, I can definitely do that for you, Doug. It'll just have to be in my off hours, because it is definitely not safe for work. Here's every Waluigi appearance sorted by release date. These 63 games contain the entirety of Waluigi's characterization. He's playable in 50 of them, and we can split those playable games into sports and party games. I combed through each of these appearances, grasping at any piece of Waluigi characterization, but the vast majority of them treat Waluigi as a meat puppet, a space filler, an extra body on the character select screen. And honestly, that's one way to see Waluigi. I hear you, Doug Bowser. Why should I care about a space filler character? Well, you already care about a space filler character. A little fella named Mario. Let's discuss Waluigi's counterparts to shed some light on his origin. The original Donkey Kong was supposed to have Popeye characters, but Nintendo couldn't get the license, so Shigeru Miyamoto created an unnamed player character as a stand-in. And that space filler was later named Mario. People think that characters have to have some deep backstory in order for people to like them, but that's not true. People love Mario because of his humble origins. The same cannot be said about the rightfully despised coward boy that is Luigi. You see, Luigi is made because they needed a player 2 in the game, so they just palette swapped Mario. That
Luigi's
is a
better than
character
Mario?
filling a space by copying another filled space. As much as I hate to admit it, I will have to revisit Luigi later in this video because he is key to developing the personality of Waluigi. And that's partially because of Wario. Wario wasn't
Oh
made
my
by
god,
Miyamoto.
so much of my
But supposedly,
skin.
the team behind Super Mario
Sorry.
Land's 2 6 golden
It's
coins
so itchy, I
didn't
have to-
enjoy being forced to make a Mario game because they didn't create the character. So Hiroji Kiyotake created a bad Mario. Someone that had all
Give
of
me a second,
Mario's
chat.
evils exaggerated.
Ah.
And finally, we have
It is
Waluigi,
healing. I think when it
who was
heals,
created by
that's like
same
the
character
last step,
designer
I
who
would
worked on
guess.
Golden Sun. The guy who made Saturos and Isaac and all of these intense, powerful characters
Don't worry about
used
me,
his
chat.
talents to make the most
I'm just
intense,
extremely pale and
most powerful
sunburned
character.
super
And he
easily.
made him for a very important reason. Because Wario didn't have a doubles partner in Mario Tennis. If Wario is just the evil, exaggerated form of Mario, then Waluigi's the same for Luigi. And that's really all we get from Waluigi's first encounter. That and the fact that Luigi is not afraid of him. Luigi, the milksop who is afraid of all, is not afraid of his evil funhouse mirror twin. There's something to that, but I don't know if I can quite grasp it without discussing all of the lore first. So let's switch back here. As I mentioned before the tangent, Waluigi often plays the role of meat puppet, so not all of these games have lore that is
Give me a
useful
sec,
to
chat.
us in developing a Waluigi game. So I'll take them off the board. After cutting, we're left with 5 references to Waluigi, 7 party
Ow!
games, and 13 sports
Okay,
games.
thank you. Thank you
From
for the
these
get well
25
stars.
appearances, we can take
So
all the
painful.
juicy morsels and put them into a list of
Let me see if anyone's
Waluigi
added
truths. Let's start
any
with the reference.
recommendations.
Though
on
Super
the-
Smash has
on the
notoriously
Twitter.
snubbed our large purple child, the trophies do a pretty good job of fleshing out his
Large
character.
purple child.
Super Smash Bros. Melee lays out 8 Waluigi truths in just 3 sentences. This tall, thin, evil-looking guy seems to be Luigi's rival. 4 things right there. Tall, thin, evil-looking, seems to be Luigi's rival. That one really isn't definitive, so we'll keep
Yeah,
it
more people
ending.
have added stuff.
He works hard at his mischief. Waluigi reportedly spent a lot of time training for his debut in Mario Tennis by honing his
Pose
ability
design.
to antagonize the Mario brothers. Waluigi is a mischief maker, and he takes it seriously. While it's general knowledge that he's
This
the
is
same age
Waluigi
as Luigi,
Unraveled.
his relationship to Wario is unclear. Luigi is exactly the same age as Waluigi, and I do not know who that reflects worse on. Also, I love that Waluigi is connected to Wario, but no one's ever cared to take a closer look. Are they friends? Accomplices? Lovers?
Come on, baby.
It's unclear. The next Smash games really hammer home these truths,
Costume bin!
only adding that he must also have
Okay,
a crooked
hang
muff-
on, chat. We're going to the costume bin. There's so many different hats I could put on right now. Which one should I pick? Let me think. I'm thinking, chat. I like this one. Let's do this one today. It's a rat on a skateboard. It's a rat on a skateboard as a hat. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yo, the drip. The drip is real. The drip is real. Yo, rat hat. Exactly. You guys get it. Alright.
mustache,
Love
a
it, thank
large
you.
nose, and a love of kicking. The final reference comes from Mario and Rabbids' Kingdom battle, where a large Rabbid called Waluigi appears. This is the closest Waluigi has ever come to appearing in a plot-based Mario game.
You own the hat?
Rabbid
Damn,
has
okay.
had more screen time than the original Waluigi. What can we learn from this? As we move on to the party games, a lot of Waluigi's lore is reiterated. The main additions are that he is a misanthrope who loves to party. There are 2 strange pieces of info in the party games. In Mario Party 5, each pairing gets a different team name, and Mario plus Waluigi are pseudo-bros. Not enemies, It seems like Mario is okay working with Waluigi instead of Luigi. The second weird piece of info is in Mario Party 4, where Waluigi is described with the quote, "That Waluigi's a serious sneak. Watch out for his sparky sticker." This quote doesn't have any useful info for us, but the phrase, "watch out for his sparky sticker" is the worst and I hate it, and why put it in a family-friendly video game, Nintendo? Finally, we have the sports games, where Waluigi started. Mario Tennis set the tone for Waluigi with two truths. One, that he's highly skilled as a technique player, and two, that Luigi is not afraid of him. This one's still weird. These ones all have quotes that reiterate what we know about Waluigi.
He's slowly becoming
He's
Waluigi.
hardworking
I agree.
And he's skilled, even if he cheats sometimes. We
Brian
have some
David Gilbert a
metaphysical
little bit
characterization
does
in
look
Super
like
Mario
Waluigi.
Strikers, where the legend states Waluigi's ego tends to be his biggest enemy. In Mario Hoops 3-on-3, his baller name is The Question, which I think just solidifies him as an enigma. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games shows that Waluigi is a great jumper, and Waluigi's special move in Mario Super Sluggers is the Liar Ball, which is a ball that he splits into two copies, one real and one false, which emphasizes his mischievousness. In Mario
He's so
Power Tennis,
mischievous.
there is a blooper reel
Little
where
guy,
Waluigi
full of
is
mischief.
aware that this is all a show. Does this mean that Waluigi is able to break the fourth wall, or does it prove what I already knew, that Waluigi is great on camera? Hot under these lights. Anyone else on here? I'm just gonna pop this bad boy off if that's okay. And in Mario Tennis Power Tour, Waluigi appears without Wario. Their relationship was never clear, but it is surprising that Waluigi, who was built to be Wario's tennis partner, can appear in a tennis game without him. Luigi's still there. Why can't Waluigi exist without Luigi? Save us all a headache. And that's basically all of the Waluigi lore you can learn from the games. The 23 Waluigi truths. And you can use them to create a Waluigi video game. And I could stop this video here, Doug, but I'll tell you what, I'll do you a favor. I'll tell you what I think the Waluigi game should look like, since I've done the research for you. If you're gonna make a Waluigi game, you're gonna need to make it distinct. Nintendo does a great job of tying gameplay to what makes a character special. Mario's got platformers locked. Wario has eccentric, greedy microgames. Luigi... You know what? Let's actually go through Luigi's truths and see how it led to Luigi's Mansion. Luigi is foolish. He's a coward. He's weak. He's pitiful.
Oh, that's so sad. He's a weak, pitiful coward.
Setting would allow this mistake of a human to really
exhibit
his uselessness. A haunted house. This man has been bamboozled into comedic haunted house.
Really, just
3 times. Something most Hollywood
just got here. Welcome.
have only been duped into once. He's a big dumb idiot, and I would hate to be associated.
Oh my god.
Waluigi is Luigi's
the Waluigi
reflection.
hate.
So his game will be far removed from this numpty. Let's make it. First, we're gonna move the truths that are physical traits to the side, since they're based
I like Luigi.
Next,
This
we have to
fucked
decide
up.
on a cast of characters. Honestly, Waluigi
Straight
has
up
been
fucked
sidelined
up.
for so long that this needs to be a solo mission. Now let's talk about the rest of these truths. If you were to separate them out, you could probably make dozens of different games. A mischievous prank game, a game where Waluigi gets schwasty every night. And I'm not opposed to these games, but Waluigi contains multitudes. Why does he turn to mischief? Why does he work so hard only to be cast aside by society?
I don't know.
Who is this enigma of a man whose
Luigi's my
true
favorite.
enemy
I'm so
is
sorry.
himself?
Brian David Gilbert has no
The
chill.
Waluigi game, like the man, should be a mystery. Nintendo already has wonderful mystery games, but they're too cute. Waluigi is raw. He's real. To convey the complex emotions of a complex man, we can't rely on traditional animation styles. The Waluigi video game should be full motion video. Doug, I know this is a wild concept, and Nintendo is not known for live action video mysteries, but Waluigi is just the intellectual property to explore this new genre. Imagine Waluigi as a hard-nosed investigator struggling to pick apart the pieces of who he is, a man solving himself. I mean, there is the issue of casting. You gotta find someone who is evil looking and has a crooked mustache and a big nose and is great at jumping. You know, that's a hard task to find one guy who's got all those features, you know?
Oh my god.
Well, now wait a second, Doug. If you take a look at my truths, you'll find that they're nearly the same as Waluigi's. I'm hardworking, I'm a bit of a scamp, and though I might not be as tall and lean, there's enough of me that wants
Is this
to
why
be
he hates
Waluigi
Luigi?
that I'd devote everything to being. I need this role, Doug. I've spent the past few months devising this pitch for you. No one wants this more.
He's
cares
so off the
more
walls.
about Waluigi than I do.
I believe you,
fight
Brian.
Charles Martinet
Mr.
for this
Brian.
role. Is that what you want, Doug? You pick the weapons. I will end his career.
Oh my god.
And that's why I hope you'll consider me for Waluigi's currently untitled full-motion video game. But
Should we
there's
give him a
something
little
that's still nagging
mustache?
me. I'm sure you noticed that I didn't address all of these Waluigi truths. Why does every single quote
I don't
state
know.
that Waluigi thinks he's Luigi's rival? You could read this as Waluigi not being important enough for Luigi to consider him as a rival, but why go through the trouble of putting that in every single description? Why not just make their rivalry canon?
It gets
and the
worse?
fact that
Oh,
Luigi
no.
is not afraid of him is mind-boggling. Luigi's personality is 90% fear and 10% being green. Mario is shocked when Waluigi appears, and yet Luigi is calm, like he somehow expected it. And if Waluigi thinks his biggest enemy is Luigi, then how can his actual biggest enemy be his ego? Does that make
This is, Clip
Luigi
Studio Paint.
the ego to Waluigi's
Thank
id?
you.
And if you can't have a Waluigi without a Luigi. It's one real and one false. Why can't Waluigi exist without Luigi? Luigi and Waluigi are the same person.
What?
It's so simple. Luigi is just
This is
manifesting his
insane.
own repressed desires as an alternate personality, a shocking twist that no one's ever done in media before. Waluigi is just the exaggerated form of Luigi's deepest desire. The want to be skilled, the want to be respected, the want to party. Waluigi is everything Luigi
What is
wishes
happening?
he could be, but could never be under the famous gaze of his famous brother. What an amazing twist. What an amazing truth. What an amazing role for me. Waluigi. Think of the accolades, the Game Awards, the respect. As someone who wished to be Waluigi for so many years. As someone who wished, if there are two personalities, am I number one or am I the one who is long?
Dear God.
I'm not a Waluigi. I'm a Luigi. No.
Oh my god. Is he okay? I don't know. I hope he's okay. Not the mustache! This is
And
so.
that's just one potential ending to Waluigi's currently untitled full-motion
He
video
shaved
game.
his mustache for
If you're
that.
interested in
That was
licensing the idea,
insane.
Doug, feel free to reach out to my agent, and we can get filming tomorrow. Or in like 5 months, because I am gonna have to grow the mustache, but I probably shouldn't have shaved it before we... You know what? I don't have an agent, so just don't contact me. I don't want to play Luigi, so... Okay, here we go.
Sob while doing it.
That was insane. I liked that a lot. Oh my god.
It's so hard to sob while shaving because it gets in your mouth.
Oh man.
Dude,
Hang on. Okay. That was pretty good. We're gonna get through a couple more and then I'm gonna add a bunch to this playlist that you guys recommended on my Twitter. Do we want this one about the new Lightyear movie? It's called What Even Is Lightyear? There's one by Lamino called Bygone Visions of Cosmic Neighbors, which I have no idea what that one's about. There's a BuzzFeed Unsolved one that's The Murders That Haunt Lizzie Borden House. We've got one by Drew Goodman called What is Good Acting? And yeah, Lamino. I've never watched a Lamino video. Okay, we'll do this one.
Just let me know.
We'll do BuzzFeed Unsolved next, yeah.
In the spring of 1806, 2 German astronomers were independently observing Venus when they noticed something odd. The hemisphere facing away from the sun did not perfectly blend with the blackness of space. Instead, it had a faint glow with a grayish-red or ashen-gray appearance. This ashen light resembled a phenomenon known as earthshine. It's when sunlight reflected by the earth faintly illuminates the night side of the moon. It seemed reasonable
Science,
therefore, to
chat.
ascribe
We're
the
learning.
ashen light to a similar cause, namely that sunlight reflected by a Venusian moon was faintly illuminating the night side of Venus. Only one slight problem: Venus doesn't have a moon. This meant the ashen light resembled earthshine in appearance only because there was nothing in proximity of Venus to reflect any sunlight. In the words of famed astronomer William
The acting one? We'll do the acting one as well.
Those
We'll do both
regions
of
that are
those.
turned from the sun cannot possibly shine by a borrowed light. A few decades later, another German astronomer, Franz von Gröthausen, proposed a rather creative solution to this mystery. The ashen light was the result of sweeping wildfires on the surface of Venus, deliberately ignited by its inhabitants.
What?
As absurd as that sounds, there were tantalizing similarities between Venus and Earth. The 2 planets were of similar
Aliens?
size, and much like the Earth, Venus had an atmosphere, a densely cloud-laden atmosphere which gave astronomers and science fiction authors alike free rein to speculate about what could lie beneath. A barren desert, a planet-wide ocean, a tropical rainforest. Anything was possible. It was in this context that Gröthausen made his proposal in 1836. He believed that Venus was inhabited by a humanoid species who would periodically light fires on the surface, the purpose of which was either to clear land, to commemorate a religious occasion, or to celebrate the coronation of a new Venusian emperor. Gröthausen did perhaps get a bit carried away, but he was far from the first to suggest that Venus was inhabited. Titans of astronomy like Christian Huygens and William Herschel envisioned all the planets, including Venus, to be teeming with life. And it took a long time for this romanticized image to fade. In 1916, this illustration appeared in American newspapers with the caption, "A remarkable drawing by Mr. Winsor McKay, illustrating the conditions on Venus as astronomical science now believes them to exist." Even well into the space age, we still find echoes of this Earth-like perception. In 1967, a Soviet spacecraft plunged into the clouds of Venus to attempt a landing on its surface. While the probe did not survive the descent, it was actually designed to float in case of a water landing. History is ripe with stories much like this one, largely forgotten stories that once upon a time promised to end our cosmic solitude. Bygone visions of life asunder, long since quelled by newfound wonder.
Yo, that fucking
Venusian
rhyme.
fire festivals were not the cause of the ashen light, but observations continued to be made. By the end of the 19th century, some 24 observations had been recorded. But some astronomers would dedicate years to the study of Venus without ever catching a glimpse of its elusive glow. Instead, they would often be greeted by these vague streaks and patches. They covered large portions of the planet and appeared to be features on the surface, lurking beneath the clouds. At least, that was the opinion of American astronomer Percival Lowell. Far from the diffused shadings reported by his peers, Lowell could discern a distinctive network of branching spokes. It is as if a bright veil of some sort were drawn over the whole disk. These spokes of Venus bore a striking resemblance to markings observed on both Mercury and Mars. The features on Mars were
Really neat. Thank you.
especially distinct.
Nice
and
rat hat. Thank you so
remarkably
much. Thank you.
Linear. Lowell had been somewhat
This is so
unimpressed by the
sciencey.
spokes on Venus, but he became nothing
Oh, the
short
drawing.
of
Thank you so
obsessed
much.
with Lineae on Mars.
I'm probably
There are
gonna
celestial signs
sell
more
this
dazzling,
character
spectacles
on my
that inspire
Instagram once
more
I'm
awe.
done, I think.
But to the thoughtful observer who is privileged to see them
We'll
well, there is nothing in the sky so profoundly impressive as these
We'll
canals
see.
of Mars. Owing to their striking linearity, Lowell could reach but one conclusion. The Martian canals must be the workings of an intelligence. He carefully laid out his arguments in 3 lengthy books filled with these intricate maps and illustrations. The Martian canals represented a vast irrigation network designed to carry melted ice water from the poles down to the equator. While many were understandably skeptical, the idea that Mars could be inhabited was an extremely compelling one, perhaps even more so than Venus. Legendary science fiction author H.G. Wells famously wrote The War of the Worlds, a fictional story about the Martian invasion of Earth, first published in 1897. But a decade later, Wells published a speculative non-fiction article titled The
You can
Things
sell
That
characters?
Live
Yeah.
on Mars. Inspired by Lowell's
Probably
fanciful
like,
interpretations, Wells goes on to envision the
A
habitat,
bid. It's like the rights
society,
to the characters, pretty much.
and appearance of real Martians. To Wells and many others, the existence of Martians was not just possible, it was probable. Indeed, to some, it had already attained a veneer of truth. In 1891, the French Academy of Sciences was bequeathed a sum of 100,000 francs by a wealthy Parisian widow. The money was to be awarded to the first person who found the means of communicating with another planet, with the notable exception of Mars, implying that communicating with Martians would have been far too simple of a challenge. The reality of the Martian canals was difficult to ascertain as they resided at the very limits of perception. Telescopes were never quite good enough to conclusively prove nor disprove their existence. A book commissioned by NASA as late as 1965 stated that, although there is no unanimous opinion concerning the existence of the canals, most astronomers would probably agree that there are apparently linear markings on Mars. Indeed, maps of the Red Planet published by the US military that very same year
Do you guys
featured
believe in
sprawling
aliens?
networks of
I'm
canals.
curious. What do you guys think?
A towering Atlas Agena rocket.
This video
is
essay
the
is right up
launch
my alley. I'm
vehicle
so
that
glad.
hurtles the Mariner into
I've
the
never
heavens.
watched this one.
Scientific apparatus on the Mariner will try to measure the density of the planet's atmosphere. And a television camera will seek to make photographs
Yes,
of its surface.
but not the
giving
stereotypical
man
kind.
his
That's kind of
first
how I feel
close-up
too.
look at Mars.
Some sort of life
The
exists out
American
there. Yeah.
spacecraft Mariner 4 transmitted the first close-up photographs of the Martian surface in
Yes,
the summer
absolutely.
of 1965.
Aliens,
Despite
but not.
the complete
But like the
absence of
alien
any
bacteria
linear
kind. I
markings,
also agree with that.
Scientists at NASA were unwilling to give
I
up
think
hope.
they wouldn't be as
Nothing
intelligent.
positive
Like,
concerning the existence or lack of
here's my
canals.
like super quick like kind of belief on that is that the universe is pretty infinite, so like it's impossible for there to not be intelligent life out there. It's kind of my thinking. It's just probably nowhere near we are, and like probably a lot of that intelligent life or like other life is like bacteria or super insignificant, like I don't know. Like there's alive things definitely out there, I think. Yeah.
can be concluded on the basis
Multiverse
of the
theory?
Mariner 4
That's cool.
photographs. Hesitation and dwindling hopes aside, the Martian canals had come to an end.
I don't think there's any near us.
Canals,
if that
the
makes sense.
cities,
Or that would
the
want to interact with
Martians
us.
are all gone. Imaginative inventions, optical illusions.
As early as 1903, had an experiment found that groups of students seated a few meters away from an illustration like this one could discern fine, straight lines where none existed. The experiment demonstrated that non-linear markings viewed from a distance could evoke a linear appearance. This sort of visual inference is even said to be apparent in certain photographs.
Horror shaped by
I
our
mean, look at
current
this. Not only is there a
societal
clear
issues such as the
correlation
world
between
wars,
this sketch and
introducing our
this
populace in the
photograph of
alien
Mars,
invasion horror trope. I agree with that
you can
too.
almost see these barely
There's this
perceptible
like
lines
fear of the
snaking
other
across
or
the
whatever that
plains.
is. Like, yeah.
The spokes on Venus, meanwhile, bear a curious resemblance to the inside of an eye. It appears that Lowell constrained the aperture of his telescope to such an extreme that the blood vessels inside his eye began to cast shadows, some of which might have fallen onto Lowell's retina, creating the illusion of labyrinthine markings on distant worlds. It is as if a bright veil of some sort were drawn over the whole disk.
Holy heck, holy heck.
Whether it was optical illusions,
Indeed.
indistinct shadings on the planets, turbulence in the atmosphere, technological limitations, or an untempered willingness to believe, these networks of lines were merely figments of the mind. There is something incredibly tragic about these old misconceptions. I mean, there was a time not so long ago when life beyond meant life right next door. There's still hope of finding less complex forms of life on a select few planets and moons, which is very exciting, but also a far cry from a tropical Venus or an Ecumenopolis on Mars. As our knowledge of the universe continues to expand, so too must our search for cosmic neighbors.
Cool.
By the mid-20th century, the Asian light had been observed by not dozens, but hundreds of observers, many of whom were as experienced as they were adamant of the phenomenon's existence. Despite this preponderance of eyewitness accounts, the lack of any empirical evidence attracted a fair amount of skepticism. In fact, the doubts have plagued this phenomenon since the very beginning. Italian astronomer Giovanni Riccioli is often recognized
It's more
as
fun
the
to believe
person
there's
who
something out there.
discovered
I agree.
the Asian light. In early 1643, Riccioli witnessed a band of colors enveloping the disk of Venus. The night side was tinted greenish-blue, enclosed by a semicircle of light. Riccioli ascribed the vivid colors to light being refracted inside his telescope, an effect known as chromatic aberration. In other words,
Chromatic
Riccioli thought the
aberration.
faint glow on Venus was an optical illusion.
That's what I do for my art sometimes.
Okay, so a quick aside, I managed to find an observation that, to my knowledge, has gone completely unnoticed. And
Yummy
actually predates the one
coffee.
made by Riccioli. A German priest and scholar
It made
named
you sad?
Athanasius
I'm sorry.
Kircher wrote in 1660 that he too had observed a band of colors on Venus. No date was given, but Kircher did provide a location, Palermo, Sicily. Based on historical records, Kircher paid his last and only visit to Palermo in the spring of 1638. So Kircher observed the Asian light 5 years before Riccioli and should thus be credited with its discovery. Okay, back to the video. Riccioli's doubts about the Asian light echoed through the centuries, and by the 1900s, it was not uncommon for sightings to be dismissed as a mere trick of the eye. Not only were observations infrequent and unpredictable, but they were often inconsistent. Brightness, color, and the extent to which the night side was illuminated could vary drastically between accounts. With no hard proof of its existence and a lack of concordance between those who had seen it, the Asian light appeared destined to join the ranks of myth and misconception. But in 1975, the Soviet spacecraft Venera 9
Existential,
became
yeah.
the first to successfully
I feel
orbit
that.
Venus. Diving into the shadow of this faded twin, it detected faint flashes of light emanating from the clouds below. Venus and Mars have historically been the two prime candidates for cosmic neighbors, but the other planets have not gone completely ignored. Scottish astronomer James Ferguson had few reservations about life in the solar system.
Fergie.
When it came to Mercury, for instance, Ferguson thought that Mercurians simply
I'm not
possessed
quite
greater
vibing with this one. Sorry. It's too long. Is that okay, chat? Is it okay if we move on to a different one? It's too confusing for my little brain. Like, while I'm drawing, it's so hard. Understandable? Yeah, okay. Should we watch this one on Lightyear? On the new Lightyear
Lightyear's
movie?
a fake movie. I mean, it's a real movie.
Cool,
yeah,
thank you,
I bought
sorry.
a ticket. I watched it. But this is, according to Pixar, a movie that exists in the Pixar universe.
It
It's
seemed
a movie
good, I
that
just don't
Andy
have
saw
enough
that made him want to buy the Buzz
retention.
Lightyear toy. So it's a movie within a movie. Like, there is
At the
an
moment.
animated actor playing Buzz Lightyear in the movie that goes uncredited, but it's assumed that the guy
The
who's
acting
Buzz
one? Yeah, let's
Lightyear
watch the
in this
acting one
movie
next.
is
This one's
also in
pretty
other
short,
movies,
so.
but it's the anime. You get what I'm saying? And I went through all of that to say that this movie is simultaneously way better than it should be, but also about as deep as you would expect a fake movie to go. Let's talk.
A
about it.
fake
Now, I don't think
movie.
it's a secret that I've really liked the recent Pixar films, like more than I should. I thought Soul was a one of a kind. I thought Turning Red was charming and beautifully animated, and I thought Luca was a simple and sweet story that tugged at my heartstrings. Everything they've been doing recently has kind of gotten me to fall back in love with Pixar. And then there's Lightyear. Let's get one thing straight. Lightyear is beautifully animated. Go
There's
figure.
probably gonna be
I think it's
spoilers.
ridiculous
I
that
haven't
this
seen
is
this movie
the only
either.
Pixar film of this group that got a theatrical release, considering the others look better. But I'm not upset. An action-filled space adventure produced by Pixar unsurprisingly looks pretty damn great on the big screen.
This
The
name
skin
is
textures, specifically scenes
what
where
was the
Buzz is
name?
sweating, look really
The other
nice.
hang
All
on.
hyper-
The other video that we just skipped was called what was it called? It was called Bygone Visions of Cosmic Neighbors. Oops. Yeah. And this one is called What Even Is Lightyear Review.
Space stuff looks phenomenal. And I mean, Pixar clearly more than any other animation company is really good at nailing realistic facial expressions. They look really great in this movie specifically. The only thing I'm bummed about in regards to its distribution is where the hell was the short film? Was that just my theater? Is there really no short film this time? Like, I got irrationally excited on my way to the theater because it was my first Pixar film in a theater in years, and I was gonna get to experience the short before the movie, and they didn't even do it. Is it because this is a movie within a movie, and that movie that Andy saw wouldn't have had a short before it? What kind of excuse is that? I know I'm a grown adult, I shouldn't be getting that upset about this, but I'm just, come on. It was the kind of sign that was telling me that this was barely a Pixar movie before the movie even started. Lightyear is a completely watchable and fine movie, yes. On its own, yeah, it's pretty good. But by Pixar standards, and frankly by most animated film standards, this was really unremarkable. And what I mean by that last part is that while yes, the animation is clearly beautiful, when Pixar is doing it, they really do it. But at no point in the film did it ever make the case for why this needed to be an animated film. Obviously, I prefer
That was my
it
favorite.
animated,
Yes,
but it
that one
never
is so
really
good.
showcases the freedom you have with that kind of tool, which is genuinely shocking to see in a Pixar film. This late in the game, something I really do admire about Pixar is how they continue to surprise me with their animation. Like Turning Red introduced new styles, Luca had a lot of cool shapes and colors, and this was just kind of an animated movie? I might sound like I'm contradicting myself here, as I have been a pretty hardcore Luca defender for about a year now, and that my case for Luca is that Pixar doing these simple stories that aren't trying to be anything more
I
are
agree.
actually really sweet, and I
Yeah.
really prefer a Pixar film just hanging out in its beautifully animated
Luca was
environment
so
to a
good.
Pixar film trying to be philosophical for the sake of living up to its reputation. So by
I
that
agree with that.
logic,
I agree with
Lightyear
that.
should really work for me. It's about as cookie cutter as it gets and makes the case in its first frame that it is a movie that is a part of a universe, not something of its own. But Lightyear fails to ever genuinely hook me because Buzz Lightyear is not that interesting. Buzz Lightyear, the one in this movie, not the one from the other movies, is very dull. His whole character arc is that he feels like he needs to fix everything, and the message of the movie is that you can't do it without a team. If you think the film is going to do anything new or exciting with that kind of message, it doesn't really. This is a huge stretch, but it's kind of a surface level Mr. Fox in a lot of ways. Chris Evans even sounds like George Clooney a lot of the time. Something that works with Luca's simplicity and even Turning
finished your
Red's
drawing? Good
simplicity
job.
is the use of metaphor.
Is
How
anyone
the
else
red panda
drawing
and
while they
mermaid
watch
figures
me
symbolize
draw
the
and
character's
watch
identities.
this video
It's just
essay?
on
'Cause
the
that's
nose enough
insane.
for kids to connect to, and it's interesting enough for older audiences to gain a new, lighthearted perspective. That is kind of the charm of every Pixar film. And Lightyear really doesn't have an interesting
Yup.
hook like that. Lightyear is just
That's
about Buzz
crazy.
being in space, finding this
Art
group
fight
of
refs,
people
let's
and
go.
working together to get back
We'll
home.
probably do an
And
art
that's
fight
the
stream
thing, It hits
tomorrow.
all the right
If I'm feeling
emotional
into it.
beats.
We'll
The
see.
script and edit are both airtight. I can't really find any flaws in how they decided to tell the story.
'Cause guys, like
but the story
20
itself
25
doesn't really
people
have
attacked
anything
me.
that significant
Crazy.
to ever make you feel anything significant. Now, counter argument, Lightyear is definitely more targeted towards children than most Pixar films in the last few years. Oh, you don't think so? Who's its #1 fan, asshole? I watched this opening day in a theater full of children, which, if you remember my hellish Jurassic World experience, seems like a bad time. But the theater for Lightyear was silent but but engaged. Only time I ever heard one of the kids say something was when someone died and a little girl went, "She passed away," which is the cutest way a kid can say someone died. And that much makes me very happy. Jurassic World was eye-opening. It reminded me that making movies tailored towards families is actually very difficult because kids do get distracted all the damn time. And if your movie is extremely boring like that one, it's going to be a noisy theater. And Lightyear is the kind of extremely surface level movie with a likable yet completely shallow cast of characters with really nice animation to keep a kid fully invested. Not to mention Socks, who, let me just say, fully won me over. I like Socks. A lot of the spacey adventure logic fully does not make sense, like some of the ways it's talking about like the time jumps in the future and going back to the past. I'm like, wait, what? But for a movie like this, who really cares? This is the Buzz Lightyear movie from the 80s or the 70s or 90s. I don't really know when it's from. And if we're talking about the nostalgia factor of this movie and it being some sort of older space adventure film, it only really gets halfway there. I mean, the plot and the tone of it definitely feel like a movie that came around the time Star Wars came out, where it's not trying to change the game on any space movie cliches, rather it leans into them because that cheese is very charming. But the cinematography didn't feel all that retro. It felt very modern blockbuster action film, which didn't really make sense. And the dialogue feels very self-aware in a way that's always kind of irritated me in these newer Pixar films. But most importantly, the titles. Come on. I know this is insanely nitpicky, but why did they go with this like Transformers type style for the credits?
It's nice drawing when someone else is drawing. If you say so.
Does it match
I mean,
the
actually,
film
I
at
do
all?
agree with
I
that.
just wish aesthetically, not just tonally, the film
I agree with that because, like, I love drawing while watching Art Troopers, but, like, watching me draw while also watching a video essay while also drawing yourself seems insane. Like I love you guys, but how do you do that?
That would at least be a thing this movie had going for it. So yeah, I'm mixed about this movie. I do unfortunately
You guys are
think
powerful.
it's the worst thing Pixar has made in a long time, but I really don't think it's a bad movie, nor is it the worst movie Pixar's ever made. I think kids will have an absolute blast with it, and if you are curious about it, you should absolutely check it out. It's not going to win over any skeptics.
It's the
and that's
ADHD.
fine.
You know what? That
is
makes
not at all
sense.
what the movie set out to do. It isn't doing a single remarkable thing, yet it kept me relatively entertained for its entire runtime. I'm not upset that this movie exists at all. But I can hope that we are nearing the end of Toy Story universe movies, because this is as clear of a sign as ever that these characters are getting a little exhausted. Anyway, thanks for watching. Go watch Lightyear and form your own opinion, and before you head out...
Awesome. Let's watch the What is Good Acting video.
This video is sponsored by Skillshare. And
I feel like all of these videos are sponsored by Skillshare.
Also the original
Am I crazy?
Hey guy, welcome back to my Webkins account. As always, this video is entirely inspired by one Curtis Connor tweet. If you go on YouTube and search for best
I'm basically
acting
glancing at your art, admiring it,
probably
of course,
see
and
a
listening to
lot
the
of
essay in
videos
you.
with
That's
millions of
epic.
views that look and sound kind of like this.
Hey, lazy, I make shit ugly, hate you.
While most of these scenes are incredible, I think it's kind of silly that we tend to view yelling loudly or crying on camera to be the epitome of a performance. Maybe it's just that anger and sadness are the two most relatable human emotions, or maybe it's cathartic when you have some amount of pent-up frustration to see an actor go absolutely apeshit on a mirror. But there are so many other types of acting that are just as important as the climactic rage outbursts that tend to fly under the radar. One of the biggest ones is just reacting. What are you doing while other people are talking? Are you visibly affected by what they're saying, or are you just waiting for your turn to talk again? It doesn't matter that you nailed all your lines.
You
if
loved your
just
Gordon?
stand
I've
there
never
with a blank
watched. Well, I
expression
have
while
actually. I
everyone
just don't
else is
remember.
getting there. Not only
watching
are you
these
going to ruin
videos.
whatever shot you happen to be in, but you just made it that much harder for your scene partner to focus on what they're saying. Subtle reaction shots can be just as powerful or devastating as the line that they're reacting to. That's what adds any meaning to those words. When you think about it, it doesn't really matter what someone says in a scene if the person they're saying it to doesn't give a shit. The gravity of words is the impact they have, not necessarily just the words themselves. If something is meant to be a big reveal, but the other person doesn't seem at all shocked, then kind of ruined the surprise, didn't it? I think one reason a show like Succession is so captivating to me is because of how into it every actor is, no matter who's talking. In fact, the show is purposely shot in a way so the actors never know for certain when they might be in frame, so they need to be constantly invested. Some of the cameramen are given free rein to move around the room and zoom in on whoever they want. This makes it so even when only a couple people in a scene are talking, you still know how everyone else feels because you can see it on their face. It's funny, in a lot of ways this is a show about words. It's about clever insults and very deliberate dialogue. Some of the best lines I've ever heard have come from this show.
You can't make a tomlet without breaking some Greggs.
But in spite of that, a lot of the most compelling moments are entirely nonverbal. Whether it's Shiv silently seething at the end of season 3, Logan giving the most subtle smirk at the end of season 2, or the many looks on Kendall's face as he goes through an absolute roller coaster of gaining and losing power, the extreme highs and lows of his drug addiction, all while grappling with the guilt he feels for doing something awful at the end of season 1. And look, this is all just my opinion. I'm not a trained actor by any means. The most acting I do is in the little skits that I put in my videos. But for me, it is always so much harder to do a reaction shot than it is to give a line. Because when I'm talking, I'm actively doing something. I have words to say. I can focus on what I'm saying and how to say them. But if I have to just like give a surprised look or look like I'm sad about something that's happening out of frame, it just doesn't come naturally at all. I have to do it 100 times before I can narrow it down to one not terrible take. So because of my own shortcomings, I'm often just as impressed when people give a really good facial expression in a scene as I am, you know, when someone gives like a really cool monologue. Going back to what I talked about in the beginning, rage is something that can be even more interesting when the actor's trying to hold it back, not necessarily just explode on everyone. Jack Nicholson in The Shining, before he goes sicko mode on his whole family, makes it very clear without even saying a word that he is actively snapping. This face is terrifying. He doesn't have to say anything here. He doesn't have to be charging you with an axe. I am scared looking at this. And all he's doing is making a face. That's incredible. Nonverbal acting goes hand in hand with physical acting, and for a really long time, I kind of rolled my eyes at the idea of physical comedy because when I thought about it, I just thought about Lele Pons falling down. And technically, yes, that counts, but there's so much more to physicality. The way your character walks,
yeah. Hello.
That's a choice. Whether it's Michael Cera embodying an entire personality with this defeated slouch, or it's kind of weird, the boss from Emily in Paris. I know, it's a terrible show, but I am fascinated by this actress's choice to always walk around with like T-Rex arms, and then it hit me. Powerful people are always pointing at stuff. Rachel, I love your haircut. Matthew, no smoking in here. Can't you read the sign? And so, you know, I guess it's more convenient to keep your hands up here, always ready to point. Okay, a better example of physicality that I love. Kieran Culkin as Roman Roy. There's a scene where he accidentally sends a dick pic to his father during a work meeting.
Oh,
his acting
God.
in the rest of this episode is so beautiful. Not because of anything he says. Honestly, I don't remember a single word of dialogue from this, but I will always remember the way he shrinks into his chair. The way his face contorts and his eyes well up. You can see him actively trying to escape his body. Like maybe if he curls up enough, his body will fold into itself and disappear, but he can't. He's stuck. And all of the smugness and arrogance that has built up for him over the course of this season is whisked away in a matter of seconds. Depending on what role you have, physicality could also be your ability to dance or do action sequences. Obviously not the ones with stunt doubles, you know, the ones where they see your face, so you gotta do it yourself. Not every actor is good at everything, and you can't just sub someone in for one scene, so it's no small feat when someone is able to check every box. I think there's a lot of roles you can look at through this lens and maybe view differently. Like, it's easy to say that Hayden Christensen pooped the bed in the Star Wars prequels because of how robotically all of his lines were delivered. But in his defense, I think a lot of that had more to do with George Lucas's inability to write regular human dialogue.
The dialogue was a little bit difficult. I remember there was one line that I just begged him to take out of the screenplay, and he finally did. My line was, "But we can't turn back. Fear is their greatest defense. I doubt if the actual security there is any greater than it was on Aquilai or Soas, and what there is most likely directed towards a large-scale assault." And I thought, who talks like this, George?
A lot of Hayden's physical acting was really good. The choreographed fights, some of his facial expressions, where you could really see on his face the internal conflict that he's dealing with. And you maybe even start to feel some empathy. The problem is, you know, then he goes on the whole sand rant and he kind of kills the vibe. But
The
did he write
sand
that?
rant.
No, George wrote that. And George managed to make Natalie Portman look like a bad actress, and she won an Oscar like 5 years after this movie. So I don't think that's on her.
Suddenly, I'm afraid.
A similar character, but on the opposite end of the spectrum for me, is Tobey Maguire. Like probably 100 million other people, I recently went back and rewatched the Sam Raimi trilogy, and I had always thought Tobey was really good in these movies. But watching it now, I realize, no, he's really good at playing Peter Parker. He's not very good at playing Spider-Man. The dude pulls off the sad, lonely nerd character like nobody's business. But when he's not crying or actively becoming a meme, he kind of always talks the same. He always talks really quietly for some reason.
Look at little Goblin Jr.
I'm gonna avenge Uncle Ben. And I'm gonna kill Eric Foreman. Not to beat a dead horse, because obviously a ton of people have talked about why Spider-Man 3 was a disappointment. But in order for a trilogy like this to work, there needs to be more growth exhibited from the main character. And I just don't know if Tobey as an actor was capable of doing that. Last Star Wars example, I promise. But to me, the gold standard of this will always be Mark Hamill. You ever go back and watch the very first Star Wars? Luke Skywalker is a little bitch in this movie.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
And then a couple years later,
Power
he's gone through some
converters.
transformative experiences, and he's a total badass. He's cool as hell. If he was the same stinky little goofball the whole time, it would have ruined the series. Imagine if instead of showing up to fight Emperor Palpatine with a shiny new robot hand and a shit ton of confidence, he just like grew out his hair a little bit and moped in the corner. I'll take down the Empire when you fix this damn door. In short, a lot of actors are good at some things, but very few are versatile enough to be good at everything. And that brings me to Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston has played two of my favorite characters in two of my favorite shows, won awards doing both, and they could not be more different. Having watched Malcolm in the Middle like 100 times, I always thought that I wouldn't be able to take Breaking Bad seriously because I would only be able to see Hal. Hal is a total
I've seen that
pushover.
movie.
He's scared of everything, he gets really fixated on random obsessions, and in spite of his good intentions, he always tends to make situations worse. But more than anything else, he just loves his family, especially his wife, and it's one of the most wholesome and endearing characters on TV.
Lois, that boy needs a father figure, and I really think it should be me.
Walter White is not. Brian's physical comedy is so good in Malcolm in the Middle, and he has some signature mannerisms that every once in a while
can
would
make it
seep into
exist?
Walter, but for the most part,
Does
these
that
two characters
hat
are
really
so
exist?
different
I want
that
it. I
doesn't
think it
even
does.
seem like the same actor. Through an
I don't know.
unfortunate series of dominoes, Walter transforms into
I just
essentially
found
the
it on the
main
internet.
villain of the show. But it's such a slow process that it doesn't feel unnatural. From the beginning, you can see the seeds planted.
Coffee,
You can see
coffee,
some of that
coffee.
anger
Whose character
in
is
his
this?
eyes. And
This
as
is my
the
character
situation gets worse and he
that
does
I'm
his
making
best to
right now.
survive it in order to
I'm probably gonna sell this character on my Twitter when I'm done. I've just been designing it on stream. He doesn't have a name or lore. If you would like to give him lore and adopt him, then you can. I'll probably do it like a bidding style. So, yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
avoid the danger, he has to become the danger. Walter and the audience, to an extent, can rationalize just about every fucked up thing he does.
Hell
But
yeah.
there will come a point where you suddenly realize, yeah, I'm not rooting for this guy
Yeah, that's cool,
anymore.
thank you.
He's done way too much. He's the BoJack
I'm not
Horseman
really-
of drug deals.
Oh, I love
a happy
BoJack Horseman.
ending is possible.
I'm not really great at making guy characters. I'm trying. I'm learning. His lore is he's pretty. Yeah. Thank you.
But does this guy even
Have a good rest
deserve
of
it?
your
And that
day.
slow, organic shift is really impressive to watch.
BoJack
not just
Horseman
from the
mention-
writers, but from
BoJack
Bryan
Horseman
Cranston
men-
as well. Aside from
Horseman
all the
mention,
obvious
yeah.
big moments throughout the show, one of my favorite
was so
scenes
hard for me to
early
say.
on was
I don't
between
know.
him and Gretchen, a character played by Jessica Heck. Up until this point, she'd only been in 2 other episodes. She was barely established on screen, and all we really knew was this vague history between her and Walt. Which makes it all that more impressive, the amount of tension they have in this scene. It's like we've been watching them go at it for years, but they've only been on screen
Could I maybe give some tips on how to make more masked people? Yes, please.
together for
Chat, if you have
10
tips,
minutes
I'm
of
not
it.
good at this.
Incredible.
Sorry for you, Walt.
Fuck
You ever watch a performance so good that all you can do is laugh? Because your body doesn't know how else to express how that made you feel, so you just let out an involuntary chuckle. This show had so many moments of that for me, from Bryan Cranston, Aaron Paul.
This
Bill
video is
Allen
about
as scientists.
what
And
is
it's
good
all a
acting.
example of how
Thank
acting,
you.
writing, and directing all go hand in hand. There are directors who have made great actors look bad. There's writing that's so clever that just about anyone who delivers the line is going to seem like a genius. And there's some actors who are so good in a role that it forces the showrunner to reconsider their entire plan. Jesse Pinkman was supposed to die in season 1, but then Vince Gilligan saw how well Aaron and Brian worked together, and he was like, you know what, actually, maybe not. And it's a good thing they didn't do that, because by the end of the show, are you really rooting for anyone besides Jesse? All right, so I guess the last topic I want to touch on is this ongoing debate about the validity of method acting. Essentially, method acting is when someone stays in character.
Oh, I
all the
hate
time
method acting.
because they think it'll make
Stupid.
them act better. And I don't have too much of a concrete feeling about this either way. I think generally speaking, whatever works, works, you know, just do the best job you can. But you hear stories about actors who are playing villains, so they just treat everyone like shit all the time. 'Cause
yeah.
that's what my character would do. And that's where it's
Feels
like,
like an
okay,
excuse.
maybe you're just using this as an excuse to be a dick.
So I always say about people who do method acting, you only ever see people doing the method when they're playing an asshole.
Maybe instead you could do what everyone else does and just do your job and then go home and be normal. I think what it
Sharp
comes down
shapes,
to for
more
me is
rectangular
whether or not
faces?
the performance you're giving warrants
Yeah, that
whatever
would probably be
nonsense
good.
you're pulling on set. Like, in my opinion, Jeremy Strong is giving
Let's try.
the performance of a lifetime as Kendall Roy. But as an actor, he is very much an anomaly on that set with the way he goes through his process. He's notoriously not very fun to be around. He takes everything way too seriously. And there are other incredible actors on set who are able to access a similar level of performance without being a wet blanket. But ultimately, he never seems to cross a line. And if that's what it takes for him to pull this off,
that
then
better?
just let the results speak for themselves. But then you have other examples of method acting, like Jared Leto as the Joker, doing insane things to his coworkers because, sorry, Jared's not here right now. This is how the Joker would act.
Did you send used condoms to?
Oh, everybody.
Yeah, he sent used condoms.
Oh my
Dickie,
God.
Playboy magazines.
I can't even begin to tell you the weird things I got. I mean, the Joker is somebody who doesn't really respect things like personal space or boundaries.
So
See,
he's
that
going around
is not okay.
actively being a nuisance to everyone. And to make it worse, his performance wasn't even that good. I don't know if this was worth being an asshole for 4 months,
The eye
dude.
shape
One
is
thing
too
you'll hear a lot
feminine?
about method actors is
How do you make eye shape more masculine? Flatten the top lid? I don't know what that means. Wait, like lower the eyebrows? Is that better, chat? What do we think? Yeah, we're doing like generic. Yo hat. Who's being drawn? Just like a character I'm making up right now. Brow ridge? Yeah. I was trying to do that, but then I put hair in the middle of it. Okay, there we go.
the people they worked with on the movie saying, oh, I never met that guy. I only met the character he was playing. And it's like, that's cool, I guess. I admire the commitment. But it's one of those things that better work, otherwise the ends do not justify the means. Anyway, as is the case in all of my stream of consciousness video essays, I don't really know how to end this. So let's do a lightning round. Reservation Dogs, one of my favorite new shows. There's such a talented cast, but Sarah Podemski is probably the highlight for me, as well as Mose and Miko, who are so goddamn funny every time they're on screen. Betsy Brandt is Marie. Holy shit, she nails this character. The overly nosy extended family member who has to know everything and also can't keep a secret. The fact that most people have probably met someone exactly like this is what makes it so good. But if I were to narrow down my Mount Rushmore of acting to just one person, it wouldn't be Bryan
eyebrows were
Cranston,
better before.
or Meryl Streep, or Morgan Freeman, or Marlon
We'll fix it.
Brando, or Adam Driver, or the guy who plays Mayhem in the Allstate commercials. It would be him.
Kevin, your dog just died.
You want to talk about subtlety? You want to talk about some non-verbal acting? That man did not even have to say a word. He barely had to move his face muscles. And yet you could feel the sadness through the screen. I kind of feel like my dog just died. That's sad. I'm crying. Anyway, I think he deserves it. I'm going to be giving him my
Where's the light
award
source
because I
coming
feel
from?
like
There's
he's
not really a light source.
appreciation for
It's
this,
kind of
and
like
I'm
a
getting
flat
too much.
drawing.
I've only
if that makes
posted one
sense.
video this year, and it's about Christmas movies, so I don't deserve this. Anyway, that's
It's
all I
more
got
of
to
a
say about that.
reference
If you like
sheet
this
than,
video
like-
and you want to support my channel, stick around while I tell you about today's sponsor. If you're anything like me, there's probably something you've been meaning to learn your entire life, but you keep putting it off because you don't know where to start. And that's where Skillshare comes in. There are two things I am committed to learning in 2022. I want to learn how to play the bass, and I want to be able to go on Ableton without getting overwhelmed every time. In theory, I know how it should work. It's just, there's so many buttons. Skillshare is full of in-depth lessons to discover on so many different topics, whether it's something you've been doing for a long time and you want to take it to the next level, or it's something you're just starting out and you want some guidance on where to begin. They're completely ad-free, so you can stay focused on what you're trying to learn, and new classes are added every single week in addition to the thousands they already have. Classes about photography, video editing, animation, web design, and yes, even acting. You guys think Marilyn Monroe became an acting legend all on her own? No.
Yo, thank you
She's
so much for
actually
the sub with
Skillshare's very
Prime.
first member, almost 50 years before anyone else joined. For legal reasons, I should
Thank
probably
you.
clarify that that's a joke.
I appreciate it.
Internet was way too slow back then to stream video. If you want to try out Skillshare for yourself, you're in luck because the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description and use my promo code DrewGooden will get a 1-month free trial. Go see for yourself everything they have to offer at Skillshare.com and learn something new this year, baby. I dare you. Thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video.
Bad news, guy. I got stuck in the dryer. I'm sorry. I don't think I'm going to be able to film an outro this week. I know for a lot of you that's your favorite part of the video. You usually just skip to the end to see my signature sign off, but given my current situation, I just don't think I'm going to do that this week. Please don't unsubscribe. I'm trying my very hardest to get out of here and continue running the errands that I had to do today. Anyway, thanks again so much for watching this video. I'll see you next time for a video where I learn how to reverse juggle. That's when I take a bunch of things that I would juggle and put them away.
That was silly.
The horror genre is such a natural fit for video
games.
games.
The parted lip looks more fun, but like anyone can like open their mouth like that. I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't know. I feel like it's okay if this character's a little femme. Like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We can't be perfect, chat. He's pretty. Yeah. I think he looks plenty masked. Perfect. Just trying to see. I'll keep flipping the canvas and making like small adjustments, but should be fine. Thank you for your help, chat. It's hard. I'm trying. I'm trying my best. Do like some here. We're doing a little bit of lighting stuff, but yeah. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of messing around and drawing while I sketch. Let's see. I like the light you just brought in. I really feel like it brought it together. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I'll do like some more lighting. Just a little bit, even though this is probably wrong in terms of how lighting actually works, but it's fine. It's fine, chat. Let me just make this a little darker, I think would be good. Then maybe we can go like this or something. I don't know. What is this character named? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be keeping this character either, so I don't know if we're going to be naming him. He's pretty swag, though. In my humble opinion. Could I draw my best friend? Sure. Let's see. Let's just push this like that a little bit. And then... Okay. Let me get another video up. Let's do another BuzzFeed Unsolved, and then we'll look... Oh, this one says it's inappropriate, so maybe let's do a different one just in case. The Lost Souls of USS Yorktown.
I think it's compelling.
Let's try
I don't
this
think
one.
it's that compelling.
I think it stinks.
I think it's going to split the audience.
Oh my god, I haven't saved this drawing the whole time.
What was the size of that thing?
It's probably the biggest boat I've ever seen, let
Me
alone
too.
gone on.
I've seen a lot of boats, and this is the biggest
Wow.
one.
Dangerous.
Yeah, this is a pretty famous war vessel. Lots of crazy things happen on this boat. I'm excited to see what we get in here.
Make sure to save your
all ours
canvas,
tonight.
chat.
All for the boys.
Yeah.
Not a lot of boys, whole lot of boat.
We're gonna mess this
Whole
thing
lot
up.
of boat.
It's been covered in ectoplasm.
That's so gross. This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we investigate the USS Yorktown as part of our ongoing investigation into the question, are ghosts real?
No.
Great. This ship saw 141 brave servicemen lose their lives aboard, so there's no telling how many remain.
There's some telling. 0. I told you. There's no one. They're dead.
That was a rhetorical question. It wasn't meant for an answer.
Oh, a little bit of fancy writing there.
I already
see.
don't
Well,
like the vibe you have with those glasses, I tell you.
These are my glasses.
Your little smarty pants glasses?
They're my little smarty pants glasses.
What happened to your Silver Lake clear
Hey
frames?
demons,
They're
it's
very
your
small
boy.
for my large head, and they make it feel like my brain is in a
This is my
vice.
first time watching you
Let's
do
uncork
art.
this
Looks
bad
like it
boy
would
and
be
find some
made from
ghosts.
clouds. Thank you.
Construction on the USS Yorktown began on December 1st, 1941, just 6 days before the U.S. entered World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor. She was only the 10th aircraft carrier to serve in the U.S. Navy. The USS Yorktown was commissioned on April 15, 1943, and put under the command of Captain Joseph J. Clark. It would combat against Japanese forces for over 2 years, and for its distinguished record and services in World War II, the Fighting Lady would go on to receive 11 battle stars and a Presidential Unit Citation. In 1957, during the Cold War, the aircraft carrier was redesignated as an anti-submarine aircraft carrier. And from 1965 to 1968, the Fighting Lady would earn 5 battle stars for her service in Vietnam.
Submarines?
Yeah.
I don't think so, pal. What sneaky? Too sneaky.
I don't think so, pal.
All underwater like a.
Did you have any
sneaky
ideas for a
little
base
snake?
price? I think the base price would be $40. Does that sound okay? Maybe we'll start at like $30 and see what happens. Yeah, we'll start at $30.
Spitballs at people.
You know
Have
what
a
you
nice
sound
stream.
like
Thank
right
you.
now?
Huh.
You sound like one of those staunch redcoats
What?
from the American Revolutions, the one that were complaining about our guerrilla tactics.
Yeah, frankly,
But then we
I
weren't
agree with
walking
them.
up
I
to
think
the-
we all should stand in lines
In a single file
Bye.
line.
and shoot each other until there's no one left.
On December 27, 1968, the USS Yorktown traveled deep into the Pacific Ocean, where it had the honor of recovering the crew of Apollo 8, the first manned mission to orbit the moon. In 1970, the Fighting Lady was decommissioned and placed in reserve. And in 1975, the now 32-year-old aircraft carrier was brought to Charleston, South Carolina, to become the centerpiece for the Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum. There is a military saying that war is mostly waiting. So during those long days and weeks between battle, the USS
Okay.
Yorktown went
I
from
feel like
being
the face
a
is
cold
mostly
and
done.
impersonal battleship
I
to
got a
buzzing
biscuit, let's
honeycomb
go.
of hallways where sea dogs and trade school boys lived and worked alongside the pilots known as glamour boys and their rear seat gunners called zoom pigeons. It is those
Zoom
very
pigeon.
men we hope to make contact with tonight.
In many ways, bear with me here. I want you to go along on this.
I
ride.
don't think I have any choice.
So we have people in war.
Yeah.
We've got ghost hunters.
Okay.
Okay, yep.
Very one and the same when you think about it, because you and I sit around in rooms a lot where it's very silent.
Yes.
And you just stand there and wait.
Except when the wait portion is done for us.
It's you going,
No, we gotta go. It's the devil.
We don't have bullets flying over our head. The first location we'll visit, however, is a spot of tragedy. On March 18th, 1945, at approximately 3 p.m., a Japanese dive bomber unleashed a bomb on the right side of the signal bridge. 3 men were killed instantly, and 18 were wounded, 2 of which would die the next day. There's a plaque on the ship at the spot of impact to memorialize the event. Seeing as how I'm of half Japanese descent, this should certainly be interesting.
Okay, this is creepy. I don't like this.
You got the chilies?
Well, the spot that we're standing
The
at right now,
chilies.
this is where a Japanese dive bomber dropped a bomb, wounded 18 men, killed 5. For anybody that's here that may still remain from that fatal dive bombing, I could understand how you would think me the enemy. I will assure you, I am not your enemy. I'm your friend. The war's over. It ended about 70 years ago. I promise
He's a
you.
good guy. He's never done anything suspicious to me or seemed to want to bomb me in any way.
If you don't show yourself, maybe you're just
Racist?
or afraid. Is it possible that I scare you?
Well, this is such a winding route you're taking here. So you're... Why?
My name is Ryan.
I'm Shane. A good old Irish name.
Well, also, while he's saying that, he's German. We got essentially the Axis powers over here.
Think about that.
What was that? Can you say that again? Who was that?
Ooh, spooky. That sounded like the little girl from The Ring. Samara, are you here?
You know
This
what?
gets argued.
These two?
Turning it off. Just a little silence
Who's
here.
the lady? The lady said these two.
If there's anybody here that wants to communicate with us,
What's that?
I don't know. If there's anybody here that wants to communicate with us, show us a sign.
How are you not more intrigued by that? You heard that.
It could be boat sounds.
You think that was boat sounds? I don't know.
On the foggy evening of February 2nd, 1987, Boy Scout Troop 149 had set up their tents on the flight deck in preparation to spend the night on the historic Fighting Lady. But upon last head count for the night, Art Clausen, the troop counselor, found that one of the boys, 9-year-old Michael Finch, was missing from his tent. Clausen went looking for Finch and found him at the starboard end of the carrier, where the boy was completely mesmerized by a group of soft red lights that had appeared below them in the water. The lights continued to rise, appearing in great numbers and with brighter intensity, until they had completely surrounded a Coast Guard boat that had been berthed alongside the USS Yorktown. Clausen and Finch were soon joined by most of the remaining scout troop who had been disturbed by glowing red lights from their tents. In total, 18 people witnessed the occurrence. This is the largest recorded group to collectively experience a supernatural encounter on the ship.
That's the dumbest story I've ever heard.
How is that?
I was in Boy Scouts. You can't trust a single one of them. Also, all Boy Scouts do, and little Cub Scouts, they sit around fires and they tell ghost stories.
Well, I mean, this is 18 people seeing something at the same time.
I bet one kid walked over to the edge of the boat, saw like some lights, turned out to be a boat. The other ones walked up to him. They're like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Oh, I saw rise out of the water." And they were like, "Oh, you saw rise out of the water? That's crazy! I can't wait to go home and tell all my friends this at school that I saw a real ghost boat on my trip."
So this is the area where red lights surrounded the USS Comanche, seemingly with no explanation.
This is the little tale told by tiny little Boy Scouts.
And the Scoutmaster.
Yeah, him too.
Yeah, you can see the water here is pretty shallow too. Whatever that eerie red glow was, not a lot of room to operate.
I mean, it looks like water. You know, if red lights did appear, that really would be something.
Should we give him a tattoo?
One thing's for sure, not a lot to see here right
I feel like it should be
Show
like
us the light. Show us the light. We want the light.
Like
One of the areas
star
of the ship
slash
that
like
impacted
moon
is the
themed
flight
maybe.
deck, which could hold 90 to 100 aircraft. In one incident, it was reported that a couple visiting
Cat?
the ship took a photo of an SH-3G Sea King, and reportedly they captured the image of a transparent soldier in uniform sitting inside the cockpit. This accounting is in line with another report that 2 men from a tour group told their guide late one night. As one man snapped
Eclipse?
photos around the flight
I
deck,
don't know how to
another
draw
put
an
his hand out and
eclipse.
said, quote, "It's cold over here."
Is this an
end quote.
eclipse?
The other man responded, quote, "I got chills, but I didn't see anything. But I did take a few pictures, and I saw it. And all of a sudden, I just see this guy looking
Plants.
at it, kind
We'll
of
do like
smiling.
moon
And right before
slash
that, I took another picture. Right before I
planet
got
slash
there, and there was
plant type
nothing there.
things, I think.
End quote. Mac Burdett, the former executive director of Patriots Point, confirmed that this area of the flight deck at one point experienced a fatal plane crash, claiming 2 to 3 lives.
All right.
Let's
Here we are
do
on the
this
flight
little
deck. This was
Saturn
also the site of an unfortunate accident. Plane
thing.
exploded, killed a couple people.
Can't just enjoy the moment down here.
Well, I thought we'd just jump into the history. We got ghosts to find. People say they sometimes see the apparition of a pilot in that helicopter right there.
So they see someone in here.
You know, I could see how with the wind you would think you'd hear footsteps and whatnot up here.
It's good. Yeah, there's a lot going on up here.
Bye.
If there's anything out here with us, please let us know you would like to communicate. You can make a noise. You could say something. You could move something, or you could also touch us. Maybe knock the hat off of this his stupid little noggin.
Go on. Maybe someone really likes helicopters.
Maybe one person really likes a helicopter.
It's a very technical paranormal investigation technique I'm about to use.
I want to do like a comet, but I don't know how to
It's just
draw
the
that. Let me look it up.
Finally, for once, you say it.
Oh, I mean, look at where we're at.
Yeah. You feel vibes here?
Hmm.
You know what it is it's such a massive space that it's kind of almost impossible to really look at it all at the same time in terms of trying to find movement.
That being said, I can also understand how people might think. 'Cause
They
right
saw
now,
things.
like, if you look over there, there's a lot going on over there.
Why don't we walk over there?
It's a little cockroach. You seen any ghosts up here, fella? Huh?
What if we just think really, really hard? Boy, we'd love for someone to be in that cockpit. We close our eyes, we open them up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It doesn't, but you know
I feel
what?
like you're really grasping at straws this season for methods.
Hey,
Is
you
that
know
what a
You gotta
comet
try
looks
everything.
like? I don't
Right.
think
You
so.
only have to work
I'm
once.
struggling. Okay, wait, hang on.
Well, envision him watching you,
Why is he watching me?
because it's creepy.
Is he into this?
I don't know. All right, we're gonna open our eyes and turn over there.
Dude, he's
On
licking
3.
his lips.
On
We
3.
can't see it.
1.
Oh, oops. Sorry.
3. Oh.
Where's that dog coming from?
Another spot of tragedy in the boat is the forecastle at the front of the ship, where an accidental explosion killed 3 men.
So right now we're in the forecastle. In 1943, there was a landing malfunction. Plane rolled off the side, landed right there, killed 3 men.
It seems like there's a history of death on this ship.
You don't say. It is a warship.
Yeah, but it seems like a lot of it.
I was told there was pizza. I'm so sorry.
Oopsie, this rolled over.
Whoops-a-daisy.
When you tap your pen, a bunch
For
of
the 3
YouTubers
men
looks
that
like
lost their
Popcat.
lives here, is there anything that you wanted to say before your unfortunate accident? My name's Ryan.
I'm Shane.
And we're here just to learn what happened. So if you could help us
Maybe
out,
we'll just
that
do
would
a
be
bunch
great.
of
We just want to talk to you.
sort
but
of
please show us a sign.
related
And, you know, we can relay whatever you say to
little
millions of people on
little
YouTube.
space
I'll tell you
themed
what, let's split up.
tattoos.
Where you go? Now you know what it's like to be me.
Hello? What the hell? Hey, Shane.
What?
There's a little chair over here.
What?
There's a little chair? Yeah, if I worked on this ship, I'd be over here all the time, reading my Mad magazines. Oh, what? I heard something. You heard a little something?
Who was that? Speak again.
Well, I feel dirty. Anyone who used to sit in this chair? Am I sitting in you right now?
Could you feel?
I use a computer actually. This is what I get for moving.
That was
Sorry.
a question. I think you misunderstood me.
This is a Surface Book computer, and it has like a little pen that I
It's
use.
incredibly warm in here.
Yeah.
It's certainly hot. Kind of hot in these rhinos.
One of the more obviously haunted locations on the ship is the captain's quarters. From what I could gather, there was no real tragedy here, but if there were any spirits to remain on a vessel for eternity, it would be the various captains that commanded this ship throughout the years.
So right now we're in the captain's quarters. Kind of small for a
Would you
captain's
like-
quarters, if you ask me.
I mean, compared to the other quarters on this ship, I'm sure it's palatial.
Now, why don't we kill the lights?
There we go.
Is there anybody in here that wants to speak to us?
Spill your beans, buddy.
What did you do on this ship?
He probably commanded it.
You know, I was asking him.
What'd you do on this ship?
I'll say this. If you don't want to talk
Does
to
that
us,
look like a comet?
how about touching us?
Sort of.
Or moving something in this room?
But if you did the tattoos in
fact,
white,
if
we
you'd
might.
like us
I have
to
it on a
leave
separate
and shut up,
layers
which
that I can
frankly,
like.
almost anybody who interacts with us for
change
more than
it.
5 minutes
Sweet
would
cool.
like us to do. Move something.
Spank us on the bottom.
What do we think, chat?
Weird thing
Tattoos
that I
in
did
white
with
or
the
black?
All right, man. I gave you a chance to talk to us.
I
in
think
the
white tattoos
old-fashioned
are a
way.
thing.
Unfortunately, I'm going to pull out a tool now that you may not like, but you may like it because it gives you the energy that you could use to talk to us.
Better in black?
Blast the flashlight for this one.
Sure.
Black, yeah.
My name is Ryan.
Shane.
Please say our names back to us if you would like to talk.
Excuse me? James B. Kane. That's
James.
a captain. What?
Can we get a poll if possible? I don't know if there's any mods
What'd
in here,
you
but
say? No?
You just said maybe you don't want you don't want him to talk to us. James, Captain James, Captain's Kane, James B.
Put your lips to that funny little radio and sing us a little song. Jimmy! Come on, yeah!
black or
Well,
white tattoo.
We're gonna leave.
Last chance, Jim.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and you're gone. Also an obvious spot for potential hauntings is the brig. The USS Yorktown has a set of jail cells that were used for unruly crew. Perhaps we can communicate with a couple of those rowdy sailors tonight. Alright, so right now we are entering the brig. How about that? They have a sense of humor on this boat.
Actually pretty sad.
He's wearing a hat. Anybody in here want to rattle these chains?
Nobody's in here, huh? No ghosts? I thought I'd check.
Ooh, look at this red light. You look like the devil.
Tell you what, if I were alive, and I were the guard here, why, I'd lock you up and throw away the key. That's right. I'd let you rot.
Can you say why you're here? Did you deserve to be in here? I really figured you tough sailors would be a lot more vocal and frankly tough.
Nothing?
Embarrassing.
I've run away from every possible fight that's ever occurred in my life.
Except this one, and what does that say about you?
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
Childish.
However, when asking the staff about the area of the ship they feared the most, the answer was the officers' hallways and rooms. It's not exactly intuitive as to why this part of the ship would be active, but there's only one way to find out. And to do so, we'll finish our investigation here, individually.
We're in the officers' quarters right now. We're gonna walk all the way up and down these hallways. You make a right, it gets real gross and decrepit very fast. Have fun, I certainly won't.
I'm liking the decrepit nature of this. That's always a blast, always fun for me.
There hasn't been too much that's happened, which does make me worried that we're due.
Here's one of Ryan's dumb little cameras.
Shane's probably in there having the time of his
Okay, I
life.
think that's an okay
I'm
tattoo.
gonna go in there, poo my
I'm
little
not
pants,
like a tattoo
and,
designer, so
then
I
we're
don't
gonna
really
walk
know what
home.
I'm doing,
That's how
but
it's gonna happen, and maybe we'll catch something.
I mean, this sink is absolutely disgusting. This is maybe the scariest thing I've seen all 6 seasons of this show. Always nice to see a friendly face.
I'm kind of curious what could happen in that hallway. I mean, these are all officers, they're gentlemen.
I don't know why people think darkness is actually scary, because, like, I can't see anything. It was scarier when the lights were on, because I could see, you know, filth, things falling apart. Let's boogie, folks.
Alright,
Little
yeah,
guy
we'll keep
needs
it
a
like
win.
this.
Ghost, that'd be great. If you got a mummy or a vampire, also good. I think he'd also count that as sort of proof of the supernatural. Please, haunt me. I'm begging you to haunt me. Scare the shit out of me. Do something. How many times do I have to plead with air? With nothing. I'm speaking to no one right now. I'm doing it again. But that's fine, because, you know, that's the show. And I'm happy to entertain the idea that maybe ghosts are real, because as I said, no one wants to find one more than me. If you don't pop out, then I've wasted several years of my life. I mean, I went to college, you know, and my major was not ghost hunting. I think that shows.
My name is Ryan. If there is anything in this creepy ass hallway that would like to talk to me, I'm right here.
Nothing happened to me. Never does. Again, I've said this before, I don't know if it'll make the cut in the other episode, but if something did happen to me, this would be a very different interview. The end of the show. That's it. As soon as I see a ghost, I'm walking.
Nobody? I certainly don't want to go over to that dark part of the hallway already, but it looks like I'm gonna have to. Because that's probably where you're hiding. If I was a ghoul, that's where I'd hide. Alright, maybe enough stalling. Why do I... Going into the officer's quarters. Brutal. Simply fucking brutal. Is there anybody in here with me right now?
Hello.
What's Ryan doing in there? Who the hell knows? He's probably gonna take out his little spirit box.
I'm gonna fire up the spirit box now. I'm shaking because I'm so scared.
He's probably gonna say something that doesn't sound like any words any human's ever spoken.
Wait. Oh shit.
And he'll probably respond to it like he's sitting across the table from a friend playing Scrabble.
You say do it or Ryan? I feel like I'm gonna piss myself.
I can't imagine how scared he'll be.
Close one of those cabinets if there's somebody in here. Oh shit, what was that? What the fuck? Did I just see a face?
After reviewing the footage later, in the spot I thought I saw a face, I discovered what appears to be a shadowy figure.
Uh-oh, that's creepy.
Is this an officer that used to patrol these quarters?
I'm gonna disagree with you on that one. Just the dynamics of the light, where it's coming from. You're further back. It's catching the pipe. It's not illuminating places behind it quite as much. When you're right up against it, you know, you're illuminating the thing right behind it. Very direct light. Yeah, see, it's...
I don't know.
Unfortunately, Ryan, this is not it.
I think we're also looking at it from a different perspective there. I think if a light shined on that pipe, you would see the white of the pipe, you wouldn't see a silhouette. You know, we're not going to agree on this, so...
We're not.
I think it's compelling. You don't think it's that
I
compelling.
think it stinks.
I think it's going to split the audience.
I think it stinks.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're mature about it. After more than 75 years, the USS Yorktown still stands, a floating memorial to those who lost their lives fighting for our country. And based on what we witnessed tonight, perhaps this decommissioned warship still has life yet. But whether or not the ship's lost...
Yo, Kat says yes. Thank you so much for the 6 months. Let's go. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, chat. Chat. I'm going to take a quick video capture off break to put more videos on the little playlist. If you have a video suggestion on my Twitter, my alt's Twitter, and you can suggest stuff. I'm just gonna be adding stuff. I prefer shorter videos if that's okay, so that we can get through more, if possible. Indeed. You offend me? Oh no. What is happening? I don't know what's happening in my chat, but drinking my coffee. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. I really appreciate the sub. Thank you so much. This is also a really good time to sub if you're not, because I've taken a break. I can actually like fully read your messages. If you want to do TTS, that's my tip area, which is if you scroll down to my panels, all that good stuff. Hang on, let me just Zoom in on the face while we get going. I'm liking the texture on this face. Yes. All right, now let me look at it.
Hold on a second. Is that Benny Worm? Oh yeah. Holy smokes.
Bugboy, thank you so much. Thank you so much for recruiting 5 rats to the party. Let's go. Thank you so much. Thank you. Did we reach our sub goal? Chat, let's fucking go. We still have to do our gaming stream, which will be soon. We're going to be playing Stardew. That was for the other sub goal. If you got gifted a sub by Bogboy, make sure to say thank you. Okay, let me check this. Let me check my thing. Do. The history of a television empire. That sounds pretty good. Open that one up. Can you play Iron Lung one day? Sure. I don't know what that is, but it sounds terrifying. Is that a game or a song? Why is my Wi-Fi taking forever? Okay. This one. Let's put this one. Bro, why is it taking so long to load? Okay. You submitted a video essay? Okay, let me find that. Let me find that. It's not very scary. Oh, wait, I think I've watched a video essay about that one before. Like
hey, folks.
It's the one where it's like underwater, right? That's that one, right? I think I've seen that. Why Iron Lung is the scariest game. We'll watch that one too. Oh, it's 46 minutes long. I don't know if I can.
Games as of late.
Too long. Sorry. Doesn't it spoil the game? I have watched the video essay about it. I've seen that exact one. Damn. Let me see. You can't stream for more than 45 minutes? I can, I just prefer watching shorter video essays so that I don't get bored. Because unfortunately, and also the longer they are, the more likely I will be to not pay attention completely because I'm also drawing. So then I'll lose like focus for like a minute and be completely lost. Unfortunately. That's fair, yeah. How did I get my PNG tuber to move like that? I use this program called VitoTube, and for each of the different poses I put in a GIF. So like each pose has 3 separate drawings so that it kind of looks like I'm moving. And basically what it does is it like whenever I talk it just opens my mouth. Drinking my coffee. Okay. Still looking through your suggestions. I don't know why everything is being slow right now. Just submitted a video saying your tweet. Thank you. That game is terrifying. Iron Lung. Sorry, I don't know what's happening. I'll watch this one. This one's 8 minutes. Oops. Don't do that, me. Why is this one not showing up in the little... There it is. Save video essays. Okay. I don't super have a big fear of the underwater. I have more of a fear I don't really have that many fears, actually. Pizza Time Pizza Saga by Alex. Okay, what's this one? Everything you need about Japan's kawaii industry. Couldn't last more than 5 minutes on stream? Yo! Welcome, Raiders! Hello! Hollow's Grave, how are you doing? Woo! Raid moment! Welcome in, everyone! We're watching video essays. What did you guys do on stream? Hello, welcome in. We're currently adding some more video essays to the queue. I'm making this character kind of up as we go. I hope everyone's doing well. Yes, indeed. Cries. I need a couple more. What is the Pizza Time Pizza Saga? We'll add one of them and see what happens. That's not what I meant to do. Hang on.
Here at Pizza Time.
Hang on. Add to video essays. Okay. Anyone else? I love the color palette. Thank you so much. Let's see. Annihilation, surrender to creation. What's this? So I'm just going through my Twitter. Sorry, just give me a second. Think we can start playing the video soon. And back. Welcome back. This is terrifying looking. It's also 40 minutes and we can't do 40-minute long ones. I'm sorry. I don't have the attention span. Okay. I think we got a couple loaded up. Let's play some of these. What application are you using to make this? Clip Studio Paint. Yes.
I think it's compelling. You don't think it's...
Give me a second. Okay. Let's put it back. Boop. I submitted another video, only 10 minutes. Okay. Let me look. I'll look real quick. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, wait, this is my fit check tweet. This is not it. The top 10 hottest female Sonic characters. Oh god. Is this gonna be TOS for Twitch? I'll put it in the video. Okay. This one will be the last one we watch. Okay. It's amazing? Alright, I'll take your word for it. Alright. Okay. Let me just... Okay. Sorry, chat.
Hey folks, my name is Dan. I'm a professional animator, and this is New Frame Plus, a show about animation in video games. Today, I would like to talk about Tracer, and I'd like to use that whole pose change kerfuffle as an opportunity to talk about pose design. Also, this episode's gonna contain a quiz, so get your number 2 pencils ready or whatever. Here we go! So just to establish what we're talking about here, this is Overwatch. It's Blizzard's first completely new IP in like 17 years, and it looks just rad. This is one of the best animated games I have ever seen. Like even for Blizzard, this looks really amazing. I am definitely gonna do a bunch more episodes on it for this series someday. This is Tracer. She's arguably the game's mascot character, and she is also rad as hell.
She's like, cheers love, the cavalry's here.
The game is not even out yet, and I already
The
love
game
this
isn't
character.
out yet.
Now, recently,
Wait.
some minor
How old is this
controversy happened
video?
when Blizzard opted to replace
That's
one
insane.
of Tracer's in-game victory poses due to a fan's criticism of it on their forums. Now, as a professional game animator, I'm a guy who poses 3D characters for a living, so already this situation had my interest. But the thing that got my full attention was that the fans' criticism of the pose wasn't merely that the pose was sexually pandering, but specifically that the pose was out of character. That's the sort of phrase that gets my animator brain going. If animators were actors, this would basically be the same as criticizing an acting choice. And to see the Overwatch creative team take that criticism and say, yeah, good note, we'll give that a second pass, makes this an even more fascinating situation.
My stream elements should say
Today,
it. I go
would like
by
to
she, her,
analyze
and they,
these
them.
poses from an animator's
Yeah, yeah.
perspective. But to do that, we first need to learn the basics of pose design. Pose design is super important for character animation. When you think about it, an animated performance is basically just a succession of poses, characters moving from one pose to the next one to the next one. It's easiest to see this in action when you watch television animation, which has to keep things efficient for budget reasons. See, check this out. Pose, 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 and pose.
What was that?
An accent?
From where?
I don't know.
Acting!
So in terms of animation, what makes a good pose? You could easily fill a book with that topic, but I think it could be condensed down to 4 key things. Number 1, a good pose is clear and instantly readable. You want to be able to tell right away what that character's doing. It should be so clear that even if you looked at that character in silhouette at that exact moment, you'd still be able to tell what they're doing. If they're gesturing, the audience needs to see that gesture clearly. If they're holding something that the audience
This is
needs
for
to know about,
iconic
the pose
characters.
needs to draw attention to it. Clarity should always be a top priority. Number 2, a good pose demonstrates proper
this
physicality.
pose okay?
The specifics can vary based on
Probably
each character's
not the
body
best
type,
pose,
but
but
an
whatever.
understanding of body mechanics is important so that you can give every
This is gonna
character
call
a
me
real
out
sense of
for
weight
not being great
distribution
at
and balance,
poses.
no matter what they're doing or how they're built. They don't necessarily have to be balanced all the time, but they should at least feel affected by gravity. That's what helps to give them presence and make them feel believable. Number 3, a good pose is visually interesting. It's not enough for a pose to just be clear and feel physically correct. Those things are important, but they don't make a pose interesting. No, for that, you need the pose to feel dynamic or to capture a sense of motion. The pose should have a strong line of action, which is an invisible line down the character's body which shows the primary force of the action. All
Our
the parts of the
action
body
is
should
like
coordinate
that.
to either
Whatever.
work within the flow of that line or complement it in
I'm
some
just gonna
way.
get called
The
out in this
pose should
video.
avoid symmetry to
Fun,
keep things
fun,
varied
fun.
and interesting. Really, a lot of art rules for composition and design apply here. You need to pay attention to negative space, you want to create contrast, you want to guide the viewer's eye to where you want them to focus. At the end of the day, your goal is to create a visually engaging image, or in the animator's case, a succession of them. And number 4,
We'll make it more readable.
a good
We'll try.
pose conveys character. This one's really important because every character has their own personality, their own soul, so to speak. And in animation, great poses are like a
I mean, this
gateway
isn't
to that character's
animation.
soul.
We're
It's
just doing an
important to avoid
illustration,
cliches
so
when
I don't think
posing
it's
your
as
character,
important,
because
but
every character
still.
has a different way of doing things, different posture, different expressions, different ways of viewing the world. And just like an actor, an animator's job is to know that character inside and out and effectively present them to the audience. The best poses are the ones that are just loaded with character, that clearly communicate what the character's thinking and feeling in the moment. If the audience can immediately get some idea of who the character is just from a single glance, that's the sign of a good pose. Now, that was a lot of stuff to absorb, but it's okay. Animators spend their entire career trying to master this stuff. But now that we've gone over a lot of the fundamentals, why don't we try putting it into practice with some test examples? Now, I'm going to put up 2 images that feature the same character in 2 different poses, and let's see if we can pin down which pose works better. If you'd like to have a second to look at them and make your own assessment before I share mine, feel free to pause the video after I put up the images. Alright, here's the first one. You ready?
Animation is hard.
Okay. Which one of these 2 Princess Peach poses would you say is the superior one?
The first
Which
one.
one's more interesting or communicates more personality?
I
would say
second
that
one.
The one on the right is more energetic and eye-catching.
Facts.
But also far more readable in terms of action. You can instantly tell that she's stretching out to reach at something.
Yeah, but the first
All
one's more
of her body
characteristic.
language sells it. The line of action, the outstretched hand, her eye line, the dress billowing behind her. I wouldn't say that this pose necessarily communicates a ton about the character, but the emotion of the moment at least reads loud and clear. The pose on the left isn't terrible, but it is less clear in a lot of ways.
Okay,
Her
well, I
body
was
stance
wrong.
feels okay, and those arm poses do feel really in character for Princess Peach somehow, but the expression's not communicating a whole lot to me. It's somewhere between joy and, I don't know, surprise? The really confusing thing for me is her ponytail. Nothing about the rest of her pose conveys
liked
much
that
movement or
one.
inertia, but her hair is just flying up in the air
Whatever.
like she jumped off of something. It really doesn't feel like it ties into the rest of the pose at all. I'm actually a little surprised this was released as a promotional hero pose, but anyway, moving on. Next pose. Okay, now these are pretty
second
similar.
one.
What do you think? Now, again, neither of these are terrible, but the one on the right is definitely more interesting visually. Having Sora's body turned slightly away from us gives us a nicer line of action from head to toe, and his eye line ties into it really nicely. His body language combined with the expression and that tilt of the head makes Sora look heroic, but not super serious about it at the same time, which is totally who Sora is as a character. Looking at the pose on the left, you do still get that personality and that smile and that nice, strong, wide, A-shaped hero stance, but having him face us dead on, even with that little bit of head rotation, makes the pose look really symmetrical and just a bit more bland. Also, his crossed arms get a little bit lost visually, and not only because of all the detail complexity happening in that general area, but also because they don't make for a clear silhouette. The flat symmetry of this pose really hurts most with the legs and the feet. They look almost like a mirrored copy-paste. The negative space between the pant legs makes for a less appealing shape than what we see on the right. The flattened silhouette of the chain at his side doesn't work super well, and then there's the angle of his feet. Looking at the pose on the right again, Sora's feet feel nice and planted. Even without seeing a floor beneath him, you can still get a feel for the surface he's standing on, and the planted feet make that heroic pose feel all the stronger. The pose on the left's just not getting that benefit. Judging by the angle his feet are splayed out at, it looks like he's either standing on a surface that isn't flat, or maybe we're seeing him at a slightly down-tilted angle, like we're overhead slightly. But then the rest of his pose doesn't really feel like that, so yeah, overall I would say that the pose on the right definitely stronger in this case. Okay, next. Oh, 3 poses, a twist. Alright, which one works best? And remember, we're basing this strictly on the quality of the posing
one?
here, not the
Or
quality
the first
of the
one?
games
The first
these
one,
come
the
from.
first one.
Okay, let's go
The
one
first
by
one.
one. The first pose is okay, but it's hurt somewhat by this iteration of Amy's design, and I'm mostly referring to the enormously sized hands and boots. They aren't insurmountable animation problems, but those kinds of proportions can have a significant impact on how a character animates, what they're physically able to do, and how they'll look doing it. The boots aren't too big a problem for this particular pose, but that waving hand
I guess
is
the
one
third
of
one,
the
but I
pose's
wish the
biggest
hammer had
weaknesses.
more weight
Its
to
sheer
it. Does
size
that make
makes
sense?
it difficult to create negative space between her head and hand to make a clearer silhouette. And one of her fingers overlaps the white of her eye there, and that's not really a great look either. And I don't entirely love the facial expression here, but really most of my complaints come down to this iteration of the design. It's just not super animation friendly. But the important thing is that despite all those minor problems, the character's exuberant attitude does come across loud and clear in the pose, so that's good. Now this second pose is really working. Her attitude is different than in the previous pose, more of a relaxed confidence.
Maybe I'm just
maybe
not
a
good
little
at this
cocky,
kind of thing.
But her posture totally sells it. She's got a strong line of action, that's good, nice clear silhouette, the head tilt really helps to communicate that laid-back confidence, and I like the expression here too. If there's one thing the Sonic Boom redesign succeeds in, it's in giving the Sonic cast a better range of facial expression. I mean, it's not like there's anything
Previous thoughts,
remarkable
I
about
do.
this lidded, yeah, I'm cool expression, but it works, and it's nice seeing some range for once. Also, Sonic characters tend to look their best when you cheat their mouth expression toward the camera like you see here. It looks really nice here, and
That one
neither
is
of
the
the
one
other
I
poses are doing
didn't
that.
think
This
was
one is
as
just really
good.
well composed overall. I like
Whatever.
it. Can't say the same for that third pose though. That eye expression's just not really working. I can tell that they're going for that sort of one eyebrow raised thing, but it's kind of hard to achieve that when all you've got are eyelids. And this attempt leaves her looking somewhere between sassy and wasted. And there's not much sense of weight to the pose either. The line of action isn't that clear, the legs feel really stiff and upright compared to the curved lean on the spine, and the way she's holding the hammer doesn't feel like it really ties into everything else. I think she's meant to be resting the thing on her shoulder, but I mean, it's not doing that. And the way she's holding the hammer makes it feel completely weightless,
was just
too.
super wrong.
I realize that they play fast and loose with the weight of this hammer in the Sonic series, but it seems like it shouldn't ever feel so light that it looks like it's an inflatable. So yeah, pose number 2 is the winner. Next. Alright, let's do one more set of 3. Again, never mind which of these games or iterations of Dante you like more. We're looking strictly at the pose design here. So what do you
The
think?
third one.
I'm actually going to call this one pretty much a tie between the first one and the third one.
Yeah.
The first pose is facing us dead on, so we're not getting a lot of curve to his line of action, but he's got just enough lean to the left in his torso and variation in the position of his arms and legs to keep everything from feeling too symmetrical. And his silhouette is crystal clear. I really like the composition of this pose overall, like the way the arms reinforce the shape of the long coat, the way the sword on his back is angled in the opposite direction of his line of action in order to create a better sense of balance, and it somewhat succeeds in conveying this newer, more punk-influenced Dante. He's walking right at us, he's direct, he's going for intimidation, he's got that young anger thing going, and this pose totally sells that. Strong pose overall. But I would say that the third pose is equally effective. He's got a much stronger line of action here, and the coat reinforces it. And this pose is even better at clearly conveying the personality of this iteration of Dante.
I won in video
He's
essay.
not really serious. He's intimidating, but in a way that suggests he in no way feels threatened by you. Where the first pose successfully conveys a facet of Dante's personality, I feel like this pose captures the whole picture. The only real nitpick I have with this one is the silhouette. I see two issues. First, his gun arm that's pointing at us gets completely lost in the torso, which could be a problem, but different colors help to make that arm pop over the red of his coat, so that kind of saves it. There's also this other problem where his other gun hand overlaps with his head, though. You see how that pistol grip edge lines right up with the edge of his hair? I think they probably could have found a way to clear up that aspect of his silhouette as well, but it doesn't ruin the pose. That's why I think this one's a tie. Better composition and silhouette on this side, better asymmetry and communication of character over here. And then there's this pose, which is just incredibly boring. It's like, hey, I'm Dante, I'm also here, what are we doing? It's got no energy, the near symmetry of his arms is pretty dull, and I mean, what's he doing? Is he just shrugging? I guess they're going for a cool, nonchalant look, but I don't know, he just ends up looking bored. Yep, not even close. These two. Okay, I think that's enough warm-up, so let's finally start talking about Tracer.
What are you looking at?
Thank you.
What do we know about her from what Blizzard has shown us so far? Well, we know that she's quick. We know that she's friendly. We know she's heroic.
Should we just get rid of this arm?
And she seems to genuinely care
I
about
don't think
what
this
she
arm
does
makes
and
sense,
who she
so
does it for.
let's get
But
rid
we
of
also know
it.
that she's
Question
goofy.
mark? Bye bye arm.
She couldn't put on a straight face if she had to. Now, the
Straight
context
face.
for all the poses we're about to discuss is victory. These are the poses that your team of characters stand in when you win the game. So the goal of these poses, from an animation standpoint, should generally be to show how the character reacts to success. Maybe they're celebratory. Maybe they just stand all cool and heroic
It looked
somehow.
good.
Whatever they're doing, given this game's aesthetic, they should at least strike a pose that looks right out of an illustration.
Should I
for a
put the
poster or
arm
something.
back? I
So
was gonna
without
put it
further
over
ado,
here or
is the
something.
original
Or
Tracer
like,
pose, which Blizzard eventually opted
maybe
to
I
replace.
could do something like
Now I should say up front,
this.
is not a terrible pose.
What do we
I
think?
mean, it's not incredible, but let's go down the checklist. It's instantly readable.
Do I usually use a lot of layers,
good
Mara?
sense
No,
of
I'm
physicality
doing
and
one
weight
layer right now.
distribution. And it's also pretty
It's
visually
cleaner now?
interesting.
Put
Lots
the
of
arm
asymmetry
back.
in the limbs, a decent enough
We could
line
put
of
a
action.
different. Yeah,
It's
let's
definitely not
do
the
like
best Tracer pose on offer, but it's certainly more interesting than this stupid pose. But then there's the big question. What does this pose communicate? What's the character doing? What does it convey about who they are?
Booty.
That's where this pose falls pretty flat, and it's where the complaints raised
Like
about
that?
it are dead
Do we
on.
think?
I mean, her
One
stance
layer
does
challenge?
maintain
Yeah.
some of that lighthearted yet casual Tracer energy, but not nearly as much as some of these others do.
Chad
this
moves,
particular
Chad
pose
moves.
says nothing more than I'm
Make
posing
the
for
arm
the camera,
bigger?
and that would
It's
be
like
fine.
farther
But
away,
like I
though.
said, these are hero victory poses. Most everybody looks like they're
With
posing
the
for the
thumb up
camera.
as well?
And it's not like
Sure.
every pose has to function as a character biography,
Why
but above all,
not?
they do still need to stay true to character, no matter what they're doing. And, well, alright, I've talked around it long enough. Everything about this pose is drawing attention to her butt. Like, all of it. The line of action down the spine, the straightened legs, the angles of the arms, her eye line, everything about the composition of this pose draws attention right here. The only reason to stand in that particular way is to say, hey, check out my butt. I've seen some people try to argue that other
Foreshortening is
Overwatch
hard,
characters
Chet.
are doing the same
It's
pose, as
hard.
if everybody's complaints about this Tracer example are arbitrary and ridiculous. And what? No. Look, yes, these poses have a character rotated away from us and looking over their shoulder, but the posture and stance of these poses have very little in common with the Tracer pose. The lines of action are different, and neither of these is built to draw attention to the character's butts, or to sexualize them in any way, really. Honestly, if anything, they're just kind of boring poses. This is the only Overwatch character who has a pose that's even in the same ballpark in terms of posture, and it's still not the same pose. Look at the line of action. Look at the angle of the torso. Nothing about the composition of this pose draws the eye to Hanzo's backside. Quite the opposite. Our eyes are pulled up toward
Something
his
like
face and
that?
his shoulder. Now,
What do
there
we
is
think?
one other Overwatch character who does have an over-the-shoulder
can't
pose
tell.
that draws attention to her features in a
If
more
it's
sexualized
right.
way, and it's this one.
Trial
Notice
and
it's
error.
not the
Let's try
same
it.
pose, but it does draw attention to her physique in a sexualized way. In fact, a lot of her costuming and animation do. And yet, Widowmaker's presentation hasn't caused nearly so much a stir. The fan who brought up Tracer's posing expressed no problem with Widowmaker's portrayal, and Widowmaker's animation hasn't been changed at all, while that Tracer pose has. Why? Well, Widowmaker's character is clearly a spin on the femme fatale archetype, the attractive or seductive character who uses sexuality to draw you in before wrecking
Yeah.
your day.
Maybe make this part of the arm longer.
And we can argue over whether or not that's still merely a justification to objectify
It's
a
the
character,
Twitch
but
stream-
let's at
streamer
least
rap
agree
ready.
that
Hello.
sexuality is a somewhat key component of this character
I bet he would
as
give good
she's
hugs.
presented.
Yes.
That's why Widowmaker striking
Yes.
this pose works, and it's why Tracer striking this one doesn't. One of these poses stays true to the character, and the other one feels like it compromises the character for the sake of pandering, because it doesn't align with the Tracer we've been shown thus far. And clearly, the Overwatch team ultimately felt the same way. So, with all of that said, let's have a look at the pose Blizzard chose to replace the old one with. Alright, let's just go at this with the same criteria we've been using. It's still instantly readable.
Twitch
silhouette is
sensation
still
rap
nice
party,
and clear,
thank you.
Good weight distribution, good asymmetry in the limbs, and compared to the original pose, this one is way more dynamic. It
I
has
made
a
an
much
AU
stronger
recently
line
just
of
last night,
action
and my
that
friends
runs
are
head
hyping
to
it up
toe,
right now.
and
Hell
it has a
yeah.
much greater sense of motion.
Hell yeah.
And that alone makes it feel much more in line with Tracer as a character. Even in this static pose, she feels like she's springing up into the air.
Struggling?
Now,
I'm
it's worth
struggling.
noting that this pose has its own sexualized aspects as well. For starters, it totally looks like a pinup model pose. Specifically, this one. I'm sure that was their reference. That actually doesn't bother me though. For one, Tracer's a pilot, so having her strike a pose that evokes the sort of imagery that you'd see painted on the side of an old World War II bomber is kinda neat. And also, despite the sexual context of the reference source,
Hands
the
are
sense of
hard
motion
as
in
fuck.
this pose still feels like Tracer.
The arm is
way
too far
more
from
than
the
old
body?
one did. Of
Maybe.
course, her butt is
I
still
don't know.
pretty
What do
darn
you think,
prominent
Chet?
here, but she's no longer posed in a
think
way
this
that makes her
point part
butt the
is
clear
wrong, but I
center of
can't
focus.
tell.
Honestly, at this point, it's more of a character modeling issue than an animation
that,
one.
maybe?
The way the model's been sculpted with such a deep crack, her butt's probably gonna look sexualized no matter how you pose her. If it was me, I'd consider giving the character model a revision pass too, but whatever. My point is, from an animation standpoint, this is just a straight up better pose. It's better designed,
the hat,
and
thank you,
even more
thank you.
crucially, it's in character. And I do want to stress again that sexuality can be integral to communicating character.
I don't know
mean,
proportions,
sex is
me
a
neither.
huge part of the human experience.
Sometimes
so
what I
of course
do is,
sexuality informs who we are.
I
A
go
lot
like
of great
this,
stories and characters have been built
and
around the
then
subject of
I,
our
like,
sexuality. But
see
more
what
often
the-
than not in this industry,
what's happening.
portrayals of female sexuality aren't about conveying something about the character at all. The purpose is just to pander. All it really communicates is that the character's creators are willing to turn that character into eye candy for you. Lightning here is a warrior. She's powerful and dignified, but emotionally closed off after some really painful experiences. But we'll gladly drop all that and turn her into eye candy if you like. This character is a sniper, one of the greatest alive, a supernaturally capable marksman, nearly impossible to detect. She refuses to speak under any circumstances, and her allegiance is always suspect. She's a complete enigma. She dresses like this, though. Nope, hey, no, come on,
Okay.
wait just a minute, it makes sense.
I think
She
it would be
breathes
more
through
like
her skin, you see.
that.
This is a much, much larger topic, way outside the intended scope of this video, and there are plenty of other people
don't
better
know.
qualified to tackle this issue. But suffice it to say that
So
whether
I think
you're an
lower-
actor or an
I
animator,
think-
a writer, a designer,
Let's try
really
lower.
any kind of storyteller, finding a character's soul and staying true to them is vital. It's what separates the good characters from the great ones. And this whole episode may have sounded to you like I'm just massively overthinking things, or at the very least that I'm being incredibly nitpicky, but this is what animators do. This is exactly what we're supposed to do. This kind of eye for detail and attention paid to character is how great animation gets made. Every animated character you've ever liked or gotten really attached to is the product of one or maybe a lot of people putting exactly this amount of thought into that character's design and performance. I mean, Blizzard has clearly spent an incredible amount of effort developing this cast of characters, to build a diverse roster of personalities that embody every kind of hero fantasy you can think of. As an animator, it makes me really excited seeing a studio prioritize characterization to such an extent that they would replace a pose that compromises it. I like seeing.
What do you think about that? Is that better?
Anyway, if nothing else, I
frustrating,
hope that this has been
frustrating,
a fun little
chat.
crash course
Frustrating.
in Pose Design 101. If you're in the mood for some more Overwatch animation talk, I've got another episode for you right here. This one all about the game's first-person camera and how the game's animators
the arm?
continue to
Thank
convey
you.
character even when you can only see that character's hands. And hey, consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this one.
It's okay.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you folks again
Should
soon
be angled
for
the
some
other.
more New Frame
What is a
Plus.
forearm?
Later.
What is a forearm? Oh, is it? Wait, hang on. Is it this part? Like that maybe? Yeah? Okay. Yo, this slaps. This music. Hey. Do.
It's incredibly rare when a television network can hone in on the sensibilities of an entire generation and immediately click
Hello.
with its audience. For my parents'
Hi.
generation, that was MTV. But for my
Thanks.
generation, it was and continues to be Adult Swim. Adult Swim may have evolved into the
this arm
animation
is
empire
wrong.
we
It's
know
wrong.
it is
It's
now,
wrong.
but it didn't start out that way.
I'm gonna fix it.
Now let me take you back
It's
to
the last thing I
1992.
do.
Ted Turner had just launched the Cartoon Network, a channel with absolutely no original programming that was built on the back of the MGM cartoon libraries Turner had acquired. So it was essentially the Hanna-Barbera rerun channel. But Turner wanted to make the foray into original programming, and that first original program was Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Space Ghost
It was
Coast
the
to
brainchild
Coast.
of Mike Lazo, Cartoon Network's original head programmer that would later go on to head up Adult Swim. Lazo was a huge fan of the short-lived Space Ghost cartoon from 1966. And since he had access to those cartoons through the Hanna-Barbera libraries, he had the idea to recontextualize those original animation cells and splice them in with interviews of actors and musicians, giving the washed-up
Hands and
superheroes his
arms
own
are
talk show.
so hard for me. This feels wrong. It's too low, I think. Is it too
So
low?
why the need for repurposing animation from
It's
the
too
60s?
low. It's too
Well,
low. It's too low.
for the
It's
first
too
4 years of the show, there was basically no money allocated to the
I think
production
it's
budget.
gonna be
Space Ghost was an all-volunteer gig since the network was hemorrhaging money at that point. There was no
Like
safety net.
that?
It was a trial-by-fire effort. But the lack of funding and the indie garage feel gave Space Ghost a unique aesthetic that was different than anything else on late night at the time.
Okay, so explain this now. Your human dad put his human penis in your shark mother's vagina, and you sat by and let this happen. Pathetic.
It was experimental and bizarre, a sort of anti-comedy that helped popularize cringe humor, a genre we see
Upper
today in
arm?
things like Nathan For You and Adult Swim's own Eric Andre show. Andre even stating that Space Ghost was his main influence when coming up with the concept. In December of 2000, after the success of Space Ghost, several new shows had stealth releases under the guise of a special
It doesn't have to be,
programming
like,
bag to test the waters
perfect,
of the viewing
but-
public. Those shows were C-Lab 2021, Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law,
Christ,
The
this
Brat
is still
Show,
wrong.
and Aqua Teen Hunger Force, all of which were direct spin-offs of Space Ghost.
Master is my name, and thirst is what I tame. Aqua Teen Hunger Force, assemble!
Frylock, the hunger
Is that better?
eater, tater. Meat rod, ball of compressed meat.
All the shows utilized that same lo-fi animation repurposing technique
what's it called?
Lazo and his team pioneered.
Foreshortening is
And less than
hard.
a year later, on September 2nd, 2001, those 5 shows, along with home movies, formed the initial lineup for Cartoon Network's official late-night animation block, Adult Swim. Branded as alternative programming for when Cartoon Network's primary demographic would normally be asleep. But we weren't asleep. We were up every night watching intently as this oddball block of experimental animation deconstructed and redefined the format. It changed the conceptions of what
It was
television
better lower down.
because Adult Swim
Ah!
wasn't just a channel. Over the years,
Down
as
the
it evolved,
head,
it
it'll
became
look
its own
good?
personality,
Okay,
its own
I'll
voice,
try that.
speaking directly to the audience.
You're probably right.
Watching Adult
Mhm.
Swim wasn't about viewing each individual program. It was about experiencing the entire night's content. The shows, the bumps, sketches, music, promos, and of course the signature fourth wall breaking intertitle cards. Adult Swim was for fans, and it was the first network that felt truly interactive. They'd respond to emails, open a dialogue with the audience. You could submit artwork or music and have it seen by
that's
the
better.
programmers, and maybe even get featured. People grew whole careers out of being featured on Adult Swim.
I was living at my mom's house, and the only TV I would watch is Adult Swim. I would get high real quick, watch all them cartoons, and they had a little blip on saying, yeah, you think you got some beats, huh? Send them over. And then they put the address on there, and the first thing they played, they made a promo for the Boondocks around one of my tracks. It just, it blew me away, man. The only TV you watch, you hear the music
Pointing
on.
at the star. I guess it doesn't quite look like a
Adult
peace
Swim
sign
had
anymore.
launching the careers of dozens of artists.
Does it
even
matter?
boosting the
I don't
popularity
know.
of the Odd Future Collective with their show Loiter Squad.
I was sucking my daddy when I was 7 years old.
We can get away with dick, can't we? We can't say dick? I thought we were Adult Swim. Who's in charge of these rules? How about penis? Can we say penis?
MF Doom, Danger Mouse, Killer Mike.
I'm Killer Mike. You've been watching Adult Swim.
All these artists used Adult Swim as a conduit to grow their audience. It broke
Relax
ground in
peace
offering
sign,
creators
maybe.
different formats for their art, even taking shows like Children's Hospital, which had started as a web series, and importing it into their
I mean, you
nightly
can't really
lineup.
see it
They were the first
anyway,
network
so
to
maybe
really
it doesn't
embrace the
matter,
digital
but-
world.
We're always, especially at Adult Swim, we're trying to stay ahead of the curve and bring people something they can't see anywhere else, and
Futurama!
that
Sorry,
includes
I
on
recognize the
So
theme song.
we
I love
hired writers off
Futurama.
of Twitter accounts. We're taking pictures. We're looking online.
Best
you know,
show.
We're looking on Instagram. We're looking on Facebook. We're looking on Vine.
Wait,
you know,
no,
for
that's
me, it's
not.
just
That's
inhaling as
not.
much
That's
content
not
as possible and
the
trying to figure out what
Futurama
works
song.
Adult Swim also
It's
became
just
the go-to
not. That's the
network
Rick
for
and
canceled
Morty.
or soon-to-be-canceled programming.
It
had a
sounds
direct
so
role in the
similar.
revival of one of Fox's most popular cartoons, Family Guy.
Welcome, Raiders. Hi, Raiders from Bree. Hello. Listen, I don't know what I'm talking about ever. I hope you had a good stream. We're making a character. Hello, Pap. Another raid. Of course, another raid. Of course. Why not? Well, hello. Watching a video. We're watching video essays and drawing. We're currently watching one about Adult Swim. Yeah. Once my queue is done, we will end stream, but we've got a few more to go.
Guide that Fox refused to show. But my good pals at Cartoon Network are showing it. Although I think they're making a couple of changes because I'm so controversial.
After Family Guy's cancellation in 2003, it premiered in reruns on Adult Swim and exploded in the ratings, boosting viewership to over 200%. And less than a year later, it was renewed by Fox for another season. The show even added this
We're
bumper to one of
struggling
its
drawing
later
this arm
episodes,
as well.
taking a
This
jab
character
at
looks
Fox
nice.
for
Thank
its
you so
unjust
much.
termination. And in 2007, an
Futurama! There it is! Hey!
Viewership when the show started airing on Adult Swim. But probably Adult Swim's biggest contribution to television was its introduction to mature anime to an American audience.
I
and it
love
started
Futurama.
with Cowboy Bebop in 2001. Adult-oriented anime became the backbone of the network, sort of an extension of Toonami, which ironically later
Futurama's
became
coming back?
incorporated into
No,
Adult
it's
Swim
not.
after its own
You're
revival
wait.
campaign.
Thank you.
You're joking. Futurama is not coming back. They ended it in a way where it can't come back. You're messing with me. You can stop messing with the arm now? Yeah, I probably will. I'm just sick of it. Futurama coming back. This is extremely important, chat. If you mess with it more, it might get worse. Hey! That's not very nice. No! Why are they making more Futurama episodes? It was fine. Ugh, whatever.
Cartoon Network, thank you to William Street and everybody at Adult Swim for
I'm gonna
actually
mess
paying
with the
attention to
arm
the voice of the
out of
people. You
spite.
have spoken loudly and you've spoken
I'm
clearly.
gonna mess with the
Hashtag
arm out of
bring back
spite.
Toonami.
But Adult Swim wasn't just about giving content a second chance. It was about giving it that first chance. It's a hub where creators can create, where the art is experimental and transgressive and surreal and sloppy. It's a place that welcomes risk-taking, that wouldn't immediately dismiss a show where the main character is literally a pair of ass cheeks. Adult Swim
I
canceled
will
your
make
favorite
it better.
show? Good. The important
Speaking
part is
from
it
my
gave you a
experience.
favorite show. most of which weren't even designed for longevity. They're supposed to be fleeting. That's what makes them so special. It's about spontaneity, it's about the community, it's about the experience. And that's one thing you can't get from Netflix.
Here
I
at
don't
Pizza
know what
Time
this
Pizza,
is, but
we don't use any preservatives
Pizza
or fake
Time
ingredients.
Pizza.
We only use fresh, farm-grown, organic ingredients. Hi, I'm a real person, and I eat Pizza Time Pizza every day. Some people ask us, how do we make our Pizza Time Pizza taste so good? We use only real ingredients like cheese, tomatoes, and egg. I'm a real doctor, and Pizza Time Pizza isn't just good for you, it's good for you. Did you know that 100% of people who don't try Pizza Time Pizza die eventually? If you don't eat Pizza Time Pizza, then you will definitely eventually die. Go to pizzatimepizza.wixsite.com/pizzatimepizza and order a fresh, hot and ready cheese pizza with whatever toppings you want. Before eating at Pizza Time Pizza, I was hungry, lonely, and homeless. But now, I'm just lonely and homeless. Here at Pizza Time Pizza, we're a family. I'm a real pizza, and I'm okay with being eaten. Order a fresh, large pepperoni cheese pizza today and join the Pizza Time Pizza family today. In a world of uncertainty and danger, there's one thing you can always count on, and that's Pizza Time Pizza. Leave your old family behind and join the Pizza Time Pizza family. I'm a celebrity. After joining the Pizza Time Pizza family,
I'm a
my old friends
celebrity.
and family couldn't weigh me down anymore. Because I killed them. And we even have pizza in VR. Our prices are so great, you'll want to cleanse yourself with your past sins. Join the Pizza Time Pizza family. Kill your parents. You are worthless. You are nothing.
What is this? This is not a video essay.
Join the Pizza Time Pizza family today. The weak will be sacrificed. Their blood will be the very exhaust of the enlightened. We will be rewarded in the Pizza Time Pizza afterlife. Only at pizzatimepizza.com/pizzatimepizza.
What is this?
Kill your parents.
I relate to being a celebrity. Thank you, Pap.
Kill your parents.
That was
Pizza Time
fun.
.wixsite.com.
Love to see it.
Pizza.
Okay, this is the weird one. This is the last one. I hope this is appropriate
Sonic
for Twitch.
the Hedgehog, one of the greatest and most attractive characters
Oh,
ever
God.
thought up. He can run at the
Am I
sound,
okay?
speed,
I don't know.
take out enemies in a flash, and best of all, he's blue-colored and knows how to handle the females. Speaking of females, the Sonic
really
universe
scared.
might also be classified as hot chick heaven, because there's such a mess of very beautiful and tough young women that it will make you love the franchise even more. And since Valentine's Day is around the corner, I've been inspired to make a top 10 list of the most beautiful Sonic female characters. Grab yourself a snack and a glass of orange juice.
Bogboy,
and try
Bogboy
not to reach
suggested
for
this
the
one,
screen
so
because
blame
here
him.
we go. Number 10. Try this question on for size. Who chases and hugs Sonic all the time and wields a powerful hammer? Why, it's Amy Rose, of course.
Yeah.
Though more of a cutie than a hottie, you can't deny the fact that she's
I'm really
still
scared.
attractive. Two things that make her attractive are the fact that she wears a dress, and when have you ever seen three big, very smooth arcs of hair sticking out of a person's forehead? I haven't.
Okay.
So once again, Amy Rose is lovely.
My hair sticks out
That
like
is
that.
until she goes berserk and starts hitting stuff with her hammer. Who's at number 9? It's this alien plant girl from a distant planet, Cosmo from Sonic X. She arrived on the character's planet to deliver a message saying that the galaxy was under attack by a force called the Matriarch.
I can't do this.
doesn't
I
do
can't
that,
do this
but tell
either.
people to stop fighting and focus on the
I
real
need to
narrative.
eat food. I feel
Reason
like
she
I'm
lands
gonna
at number
cry.
9 is that she becomes Miles Tails per Hour's sweetheart. something Tails needed for a long time. Numero 8.
This is insane.
Cream the rabbit's mother, Vanilla. She is attractive and the size of an average human mother. What really surprises me about her is that the leader of the Team Chaotix, Vector the Crocodile, falls in love with her. Kinda silly, don't you think? She's another character that doesn't do much, but in Season 3 episode
Number 4
Sonic
will shock
X,
you. I'm
she
so
helps Chris
scared.
Thorndyke get into space to fight the Matrix, along with Sonic and friends. What number's next? 7, of course. Wave the Swallow.
Of course.
From Sonic Riders. People always root for the good guys, but sometimes
There's
the
a
bad
disproportionate
guys
amount of
steal the
Sonic
show.
videos in this,
Her mechanical IQ
this
is
list.
equal to Tails. She also happens to be the
Video
smartest
essays.
member of the Babylon Rogue. I wonder why she isn't the leader. Like Jet the Hawk and Storm the Albatross, her specialty is riding the airboards called Extreme Gear. With 2 very long smooth feathers extending from her head to her calves and drooping eyes, Wave will rock your socks. If only we could see her take wing. Numero 6. Tikal, the echidna from Sonic Adventure. First named after an ancient Mayan city of the same name, Tikal is the daughter of the chief Pacacamac. She's yet another character that hardly does a thing, except beg her father to stop being so greedy. She also traps herself inside the Master Emerald, so that the water god Chaos doesn't rain terror upon the land. When you're the daughter of a person in the highest power, you need to look your best, and Tikal delivers perfectly.
Oh,
That's
Jesus.
why she's number 6. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mina Mongoose from Sonic Archie Comics. How could you go wrong with a girl that looks like this? She can run nearly as fast as Sonic, and she went from being a freedom fighter to being a pop star singer. Next to Princess Sally, she looks more humanoid than the other characters. Who could top someone
This is
who
the
has
best
long,
video essay
blonde
I've
hair?
ever watched.
This
This
young
is so
female
good.
standing at number 4, Blaze the Cat. One word, pyrokinesis. How would you like to have
One
that
word,
superpower?
pyrokinesis.
I mean, Blaze could play
Is this an
around in the
OC?
Himalayas
This
for
is a
hours,
character
and
I'm
she
gonna
would
be selling,
perfectly
probably.
fine. Also, a
But yeah.
45-degree ponytail makes her look like a Native American. I really like the fact that her love interest is the telekinetic hedgehog Silver. The combination of mind moving and the fire
God.
superpowers makes these two a reliable couple. But what
I
really
don't know what's
lands
happening.
Blaze in number 4 is that her attitude's apparently more different than the other females. Next up is number 3. What's better than having a female with cascading quills? How about a female with cascading quills and hair? Julie Sue the Echidna,
I'm losing
another
it.
Archie comic exclusive, has that feature. She's smart, knows exactly what to do as a freedom fighter, and even trained Amy once. She's also the girl of Knuckles' dreams.
Now this is perfect.
Lucky him. Her older self in the series Mobius X years later is just downright hot. Just look at that ponytail.
This
Now
is a
we're
lot of
talking.
effort. Exactly. This is so much effort in a
2,
Sonic.
Button my shoe. Princess Sally Acorn. There's a lot to say about this character. She's the heir to the throne, Sonic's first official romance, the only character that used to not wear clothes, brave and athletic, the most humanoid character, and is like a mother to Tails. In the TV show Sonic Sat AM, one freedom fighter, the cowardly Antoine constantly tries to woo Sally, but doesn't succeed because he's a coward. The princess is also a semi-perfect example of an
Why is she a
excellent love
chipmunk?
interest, although there were a couple of times where she's really snapped and acted like a lunatic. In the comics, that is. But overall, Sally Acorn really stands out amongst the slew of
She's not
females,
wearing clothes!
Just because
This
she's
is like
Sonic's
reading off a
first
Reddit post? I
official
agree.
love interest, or because she's the only one
I'm
who
sipping
didn't
my
wear
coffee and
clothes,
minding my own
but
business.
because in the comics, she grew very long hair and married Sonic in the future, becoming the Queen.
Okay.
So, you've
Oh
got
my
a
God, it's not over.
pyrokinetic
It's not
cat,
over.
a swallow, 2 gorgeous echidnas, and even a princess? Who could possibly top these kind of female characters?
Oh.
Well, get ready, folks. This is the number 1 hottest Sonic female character.
Do we have any guesses, chat? I don't like this slow pan. I don't like that.
Rouge the Bat. If anybody denies it, how
She's got
dare
wings.
you? This woman can fly, she's as strong as Knuckles, and is a femme fatale, seducing other characters into getting what she wants. Instead of having one
Awooga.
love interest, she has two, Knuckles and Shadow the Hedgehog. Being a treasure thief, she's only interested in one object.
I didn't think I'd be watching a
Duels,
video about hot
especially
Sonic characters
Chaos
today. Me
Emerald.
neither.
There's actually have
Me
been
neither.
situations where Rouge's cleavage has been exposed, but it
Oh,
eventually
no.
got censored. Oh, what a price to pay. I think the best part about this beauty is that she wears 3 different outfits, unlike the other female characters. And who
Not
wouldn't
the
want to fly
female-
across the landscape via strong as Sean Johnson and flirt with any male, anytime, anywhere? These 3 traits make Rouge the Bat triumph over all the other Sonic the Hedgehog females. My hat goes off to you, Sonic Team USA. You ought to be proud. There you have it, folks. Those were the hottest female chicks in the Sonic universe. I hope
So
you
glad I
enjoyed
know
it.
that.
Happy Valentine's
So glad
Day,
I know that
and
now.
I'll see you later.
So happy about
Here
that.
we go.
That was really good. That was really good. I think it's satire. I think it's satire. Ooh, I kind of like this this filter on this. What do we think? Before, after, which one is better? Well, that was really interesting. Chat, help me, help me, help me. I'm trying to do the final edits for this character. Do we like this filter? It kind of makes everything the same color, but yes. Very. Yes. I'm getting a lot of yeses. I think it's pretty cool. I might erase some parts of it, like parts of the hair. I might have a couple parts that are like glowing, but I think... Let me just... There we go. Yeah? Yeah, it looks cool? Okay, we'll merge it. Alright, chat, I'm gonna do the final touch-ups of this and I'll post this on Twitter shortly. Thank you for watching my extremely interesting stream. That was weird. That last one was weird. Give me a second. That was a long stream. I meant the stream to be 2 hours. How far are we into this stream? I think it's been longer than 2 hours. Pep, help. Oh god. Not almost 4 hours. You're kidding. You're insane. Okay, I'm gonna raid someone, chat. Thank you for the stream, Fluid. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for the sub goal, and thank you. Make sure to follow if you're still here. This was painful. This was painful. I will not be doing one of these for a while, I think. My god. Alright, let's set up this raid. It's an honor. Can we get some 07s in the chat for how painful that was for me? Oh god, that's my own voice. No. We don't do that. Thank you. Thank you, chat. Look at all those 07s. We love to see it. Faye Ren. This person is also an artist. I don't think they're drawing right now, but they have a cool painting.
Wait, hold on a second. Is that Benny Worm?
Thank you, Bug.
Holy smokes.
Thank you, Bugway, for the last minute gifted. I really appreciate it. Bye. Thank you so much. All right. I will see you guys in the next one. Benny Worm, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm getting dizzy from the amount of coffee I had. I need to eat food, probably. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you. Thank you for being here, chat, and surviving with me. Alright. We're rating now. Yeah, I'll check the mod chat. And we